Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. And today we have the live reaction to the USC Michigan State basketball game. This should be a high level game between the Big Ten and the Pac 12. I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of high level games yesterday, but this game right here, you've got two head coaches that are really, really solid. You've got Tom Izzo. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He probably already is, but he's a fantastic coach. And you've got Andy Enfield from USC. You look at what he did at Florida Gulf Coast, taking them to the Sweet 16 back in 2013, and then he got the USC job. He's a really good coach in his own right, and I think that it goes to show, with the level of head coaching in this game and the talent in this game as well. You've got Tyson Walker for Michigan State. He's a really good player. And then you look at Boogie Ellis for USC. I think both players should have a really high-level game, and this should be awesome. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. Teddy Boy says, I made it. Thanks for being here, Teddy Boy. He says, let the madness begin. For sure. The madness has already begun. I mean, you had Princeton beating Arizona, and then you had Furman beating Virginia. That's insane. Teddy Boy says, I'm going with Tom Izzo and Michigan State over USC. That's probably a good pick. I mean, I kind of could see USC getting the upset because Michigan State's not a really deep team. But as long as Tyson Walker and Joey Hauser are knocking shots down, and A.J. Hogarth doesn't turn the basketball over, I think that there's a really good chance that Michigan State can get this win. Plus, Tom Izzo, he's just such a legendary head coach. He's been doing, the head coaching job for Michigan State for over 20 years. He's experienced. You can't ask for much more than that when you have a team like Michigan State having a head coach for so long. I think that really benefits you in March because of the fact that, you've been in all these scenarios. You've been in all these situations. You're used to the madness, and it gives you a better chance to maybe avoid an upset. But I do think that USC does present a unique challenge because they're a really talented team in their own right. They have really solid players, and I do think that Andy Enfield will have his team ready to go and try to definitely represent the Pac-12 well. Inside the Ponds is here. He says, let's go, baby. He's at the game. He says he thinks it's a 60-40 Michigan State crowd. I'm probably pretty certain that that's the case because it is in Columbus, Ohio. And Michigan State, they're way closer to Columbus, Ohio than the Trojans. But still, USC, their fan base travels, and they want to see their team get a win. So it should be a great crowd for both teams. Teddy Boy says, hi, hey, Pylons, how you doing? He asked him, did you get some Taco Bell today? Well, I mean, that's, definitely probably a good thing to have in the morning as long as they get the order right. Sometimes you can't go wrong with some cereal or a breakfast burrito from scratch at home. Definitely depends on how much time you have in the morning. Teddy Boy says a breakfast burrito. You cannot beat a breakfast burrito for sure. And he also says, I was really impressed with TCU blowing out the Aggies. Yeah, that was Penn State. Penn State did a really good job against Texas A&M last night. That was a fantastic game for Penn State. I think Penn State, if they can keep shooting threes like they are, they have a chance to really go far. They're showing the starting lineups right now for USC. Boogie Ellis, a really solid player. Kobe Johnson as well, and Drew Peterson. I think that all those players are definitely going to have a lot of impact in this game for USC. I think if you look at both rosters, they have talent. That is definitely a key when you're looking at March Madness, is how much talent you have on the team. If you don't have a lot of talent, you can get beat. And I think that overall, that's why I have, USC with a really good chance to win this game, even though I will say I think Michigan State might have a better chance to win. But USC has a lot of talent in their own right. And Drew Peterson, he's a really good shooter. If he can get hot from three, it definitely makes USC a much more dangerous team. Michigan State also has Jaden Akins. He's a really solid player as well. I think that both teams have a lot of talent. I think they have players that could definitely play in the NBA. Maybe not first-round draft pick level players, but they have really solid players. And the game is just tipped off. Michigan State with the ball first. Michigan State runs only a 7 or 8 man lineup, but they have good players. Everybody that enters the game definitely does make an impact. Joey Hauser trying to drive in, and he misses his first shot, and Boogie Ellis with the board. Boogie Ellis can get hot in a hurry. He can put up 30 points fairly easily. He's done it several times this year. But USC is not just the Boogie Ellis show. They have other good players as well. Romello White, he's really solid. Drew Peterson. Dave Valensky says Tom Izzo is a total tournament coach. I'm not 100% sure, but I've always felt that he's able to at least get out of the first round. He's definitely taking Michigan State deep in the tournament. You're absolutely correct. Even in some of his worst years, they usually win their first game. In USC, they got on the board first, but Michigan State responds. Sissoko with the big dunk. That's a good sign for Michigan State that they can get some post presence out of Sissoko. He's averaging 5 points and 6 rebounds this season, but he's definitely not the offensive scorer that Michigan State's had in the post in the past. They've had some much better post players, but he has been getting better as the season's gone along. But it's still 2-2. Really good defense from the Spartans. USC trying to find their offense. Teddy Boy says, oops, not TCU. I meant Penn State High. Oh, you're good. Joey Hauser in the corner for 3 for Michigan State. 5-2. Big shot for the Spartans. Joey Hauser averaging 14.7 rebounds a game this season. He's having a great year. Drew Peterson trying to get going on the right block for the Trojans. He's backing down A.J. Hogard, and he misses a 2. But USC with the offensive rebound. Good defense for Michigan State early. Boogie Ellis with a deep 3. He misses. Sissoko with the rebound. A.J. Hogard's going down the floor. And A.J. Hogard, he loses out of bounds, but they call it off the Trojans. They're showing that Michigan State this season shot 39.5% from 3 and 47.7% from 2. So they're definitely a much better 3-point shooting team than a 2-point shooting team, which is really interesting. But Tyson Walker, he really runs the show for the Spartans. He's a fantastic player. A.J. Hogard's driving in for Michigan State. He misses it. Relatively easy floater. He could have knocked that one down. Drew Peterson back the other way for USC. Ball movement's been pretty good for the Trojans, but Michigan State's playing really good defense. Very handsy. But they do call a foul on the Spartans. But you're absolutely right, Teddy Boy. That was a fantastic game by Penn State last night. It'll be very interesting to see if TCU has a really good performance today. But they're a good team. They have a really good chance to go far in this year's tournament as long as Mike Miles can stay hot. But Trey White, he's at the free throw line for USC. And he hits both free throws. So it's 5-4. Michigan State with a 1-point lead with 17 minutes to go in the first half. Andy Enfield looking a little concerned. Probably because of what Teddy Boy said right here. Joey is deadly from outside. 100% agree. But Michigan State, they respond with a 2. 7-4 Spartans. They definitely better guard him, Teddy Boy. You're absolutely correct. But Tyson Walker with the tough 2. USC's trying to figure things out on the offensive end, but another turnover. Joey Hauser with the steal. The Spartans have played good defense at times this season. Jay Nakins with the ball. He's definitely a player that's improved this season. Jay Nakins shoots a 3 in the corner. He misses the 3. USC tapping the ball around, but it goes to Drew Peterson. Drew Peterson trying to drive on A.J. Hogard. He shoots a tough 2, and he misses. So Drew Peterson's off early. A.J. Hogard with a behind-the-back dribble down the floor. Swings it to Joey Hauser. Tyson Walker thought he got fouled on that play. It's definitely a physical game, but Jay Nakins for 2. Jay Nakins has been a big surprise for the Spartans this year. He's definitely playing better basketball. But Tyson Walker, he's in pain. It's 9-4 Spartans with 15:43 to go in the first. Tom Izzo, he's trying to see what's wrong with Tyson Walker, but hopefully he'll be okay for the Spartans. That would be a really tough loss. But I think overall, again, if you look at these two teams, it's definitely the talent that really shows itself. Because USC, they're a team that Andy Enfield, he's been able to bring in a lot of really good players over the time that he's been there. A lot of players are in the NBA. I think that that's a really good sign for the USC program that they're able to bring in players into the Pac-12, even though the Pac-12 has been down as a conference overall. It's one of those situations where you look at the Pac-12 in basketball. I think that overall, that the conference has some good teams, but it's just the fact that the teams have been down lately. I think that you look at overall, the Pac-12 is going to be losing a lot with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, but they're still going to have Arizona. They still have Oregon for now after a couple years. They're definitely going to have to hold the conference down, but the Pac-12, they have some solid teams, but they have to play well to definitely boost the morale of the conference. G-Money, how you doing, G-Money? Thanks for being here. He says, yo, what's up? How's your bracket going? Yeah, that's, a good question for a lot of people. I didn't fill out a bracket, but I will say, though, that if I had to fill out a bracket, I would have already lost because I would have picked Arizona over Princeton. So it wouldn't have mattered. And to Teddy Boy's point, Princeton busted my bracket. So it's one of those situations where I didn't do a bracket, but if I did, I would have gotten it wrong, truthfully. Even though I do think overall, that a bracket's really hard to get, but it makes it a lot worse when you have a team like a Princeton that beats Arizona. It just messes it all up. I think that overall, you just look at March Madness, and that's what makes it so fun because you don't know, who's going to win. You don't know which team's going to perform better. You're expecting a team like Arizona to move on. You expect Virginia to beat Furman, but it just doesn't happen. G-Money, he says, laughing out loud, Maryland busted my bracket. Yeah, that was a good game. I think a lot of people thought West Virginia would win because you had Bob Huggins, the experience of the way, he has been at a head coaching position for so long, and he's been at West Virginia for so long, and he's been in so many NCAA tournaments. I think that would have given him the edge per se, but unfortunately for West Virginia, they fell short. But that was a high-level game. I thought Maryland definitely played better than a lot of people thought that they were going to play. I think Maryland was a solid team, but a lot of people looked at that Maryland was a team that definitely struggled on the road, and they also did not play well on neutral sites throughout the season. They played really good on their own floor, so I think a lot of people thought West Virginia would win. But Joshua Morgan into the game for USC. He hits a 2, so it's 9-6. Big shot for the Trojans to try to settle into this game. Michigan State, it's looking pretty good early. They're hitting some shots. But Tyson Walker is out of the game, though. That's going to be interesting to see and keep an eye on whether he's going to return for the Spartans. He did get hurt a little bit on that last possession. Jaden Akins taking a tough 2, and he knocks it down. Jaden Akins is really confident right now. That's a great sign for Michigan State. He's a very confident player right now, hitting tough shots. He's averaging 10 points per game. He's shooting 43% from 3. He's a really good shooter. USC, they're going to have to find a way to stop the shooting of Michigan State, or it'll be a long game for them. Drew Peterson for 3, but that's the way to counter it. When you're giving up a lot of threes, is to hit a 3 of your own. Drew Peterson with a big shot. Teddy Boy says Furman busted my bracket too. I think that a lot of people pick Virginia. I would say more people pick Furman to win than Princeton for sure over Arizona, but still, I think a lot more people would have picked Virginia. I mean, it is Virginia, Tony Bennett, and they did get upset before with UMBC, but still a lot of people probably expected them to beat Furman. I kind of thought Furman would win just because Virginia's offense was really struggling, but Princeton was definitely a way bigger upset for sure. USC down low is trying to scrap over Michigan State, and they could not get the layup. Kobe Johnson missed. What a collision on the other end. A.J. Hogarth driving out of control. I think they called a foul on Reese Dixon Waters. He's a really solid player for USC off the bench. He scores a lot of points for the Trojans, but they bring him off the bench because he's a spark plug. Teddy Boy says Virginia should have won that game for sure, but they turned it over at the end. Kihei Clark made a bad move. And then Furman hit a big three, and that's March Madness right there. That's what it's all about. A team like Furman hasn't been to the tournament since 1980, and they get a win. It's amazing. Boogie Ellis, he misses a tough two. Michigan State with the ball. Trey Holloman's in the game. Another solid rotational player for Tom Izzo. Joey Hauser with a tough step back too, and they do call a foul on Boogie Ellis. Boogie Ellis does not like the call. Boogie Ellis, he tried to defend on Joey Hauser, but Joey Hauser has so much length. It's really tough when you have a 6'8" guy that can shoot, and you have Boogie Ellis who's 6'3", 6'4", trying to guard. It's just so difficult. But he tried, but it did not work. G-Money asks, what upsets do you think will happen today? A lot of people are calling for Kent State over Indiana. I don't know if that will happen, but Kent State is a really good team. They won the MAC. They're 28-6 this year. And Indiana had a lot of ups and downs this season. They did take care of business against a lot of the smaller teams that they played, but a lot of people think Kent State could win. Some people are picking Drake over Miami, but it's definitely going to be interesting for sure. Some people think VCU could beat St. Mary's, but it should be a lot of fun today. There's a lot of high-level basketball games. I'm looking forward to it. Michigan State up 13-9 on USC. Hauser hit the free throws. Michigan State's playing really good defense. Reese Dixon-Waters, he missed a floater. He's going to have to get going for the Trojans. They want to win this game. He's a really good scorer. But Tyson Walker back in the game for Michigan State. He seems to be okay after getting hurt a little bit. Michigan State passing the ball well early on in this game, knocking some shots down. They get it to Sissoko on the block, and he misses short. USC with the rebound. They're moving the ball down the floor. Trey White with the ball. Drew Peterson trying to make a play on Malik Hall. Malik Hall's definitely a forgotten man on Michigan State's team because he got hurt earlier this season. Now he's coming off the bench, but he's still a really solid player. But USC misses again. Tyson Walker with the ball for Michigan State, up 13-9. 12:20 to go in the first. Spartans are 5 of 10 from the field. The Trojans are 3 of 12. 13-9. Tyson Walker driving in. He's going up for a layup, and he knocks it down and one. 15-9 Michigan State. Teddy Boy says Michigan State looking good early for sure. Jackson Johnson, he says, here's a lesson. Do not ever pick Virginia to win in March because they will always pull a Virginia. You know how there was the term Clemsoning? Well, here's the term pulling a Virginia. Jackson is coining the term Virginia. If you pull a Virginia, it means losing early in March. Again, I will say Virginia, to Teddy Boy's point, they won it all a few years ago. That is their buffer. That's their rebuttal for sure to say, hey, we're not a team that always loses early in March. They won the whole thing. But yes, they definitely have underperformed in March Madness the past few years. Losing to UMBC, now losing to Furman. That's not a good look for Tony Bennett at all, but at least they do have that national championship. Tyson Walker, he misses the free throw, so it's still 15-9 Spartans over the Trojans. 12 minutes to go in the first. Jackson says it doesn't matter. Don't trust Virginia in March, period. Teddy Boy, he says, who are you guys picking between Kentucky and Providence? That's a really good question right there. I think that Kentucky's the more talented team, but Providence should be better than an 11 seed. Some people questioning their resume, which is why they're saying that they're an 11 seed this year. But I think Providence should have been an 8 or a 9 seed. They were ranked most of the year and had a really solid team. The Big East was a great conference overall this season, so I was really shocked to see them be an 11 seed. But that should be a high-level game. I'll probably lean Kentucky, but you never know. They could lose. Should be a great game, though. Tyson Walker, he takes a tough two, knocks it down. Michigan State with a 17-9 lead. Spartans are just scoring more and more. G-Money, he says Kentucky, but it will be close, I believe. I agree. I think it will be a close game, but I will lean Kentucky. I agree with you. Teddy Boy says, I don't know much about the Big East. I haven't followed them. It was a really good conference this year. Villanova was down this year, obviously, with Kyle Neptune in his first season as head coach. But UConn was really good. Marquette and Xavier. Providence had some good games. Seton Hall was decent. But still, a very good conference overall. One of the better ones in college basketball this season. G-Money says, I'll be back later. I'm at school during lunch, but we'll try to be back later if you're still around for later games. Thanks, G-Money. I'll probably be back around 4 o'clock to do, I think, potentially the Creighton game. That's the game at 4 o'clock. I think, Creighton and NC State at 4. But probably won't be doing some of the later games because I'll be busy later. But definitely probably be back for the 4 o'clock games. But thanks for being here, everybody. Teddy Boy says, spring break for me. You got it made for sure. G-Money says, 1 more week for me. 1 week will be here soon enough for sure, and you'll be able to watch the really good games, even though these are great as well. These games, all of them are awesome, but you'll be able to see the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. It'll be awesome. Easy Money says, hey, Jeffrey and everyone, roll tide, roll. Thanks for being here, Easy Money. We've got a high-level game here between Michigan State and USC early on, but Michigan State definitely is playing a little bit better right now. Trojans are having a hard time getting things going. But it will be interesting to see if Andy Enfield can find a way to get his Trojans back in this one. They have a lot of talent. Boogie Ellis, he's a really solid player with pro potential. Kobe Johnson's a good player. Drew Peterson can hit some threes. Trey White's a solid player. But overall, Michigan State is getting much more production out of Tyson Walker, Joey Hauser, Malik Hall, A.J. Hogarth early on in this game, and Jay Nakins has hit a couple big shots. And if they keep playing the way they are, Michigan State should win. Teddy Boy says Bama is the easiest region, in my opinion. Well, now, especially now Arizona's gone, I think that if Alabama just plays high-level basketball and Brandon Miller can get relatively healthy again, then there's a really good chance. There's a really good chance that you could see Alabama go all the way in that region. It's one of those situations where a lot of teams in that region just don't match up with Alabama. They don't match up with the talent and the physicality. I do think that they could get upset. I mean, no team it's impossible to be upset. I don't think any team has that, ability to say, hey, we're way better than every other team. We're not going to lose in this region. Alabama's got it easily made to get out of that region. But overall, if you do look at it on paper, Alabama is definitely the heavy favorite. And as long as they play really solid basketball and don't have a bad game, then they should go all the way to the Elite 8. But it will be interesting to see for sure. And I completely agree. Teddy Boy says, especially with Arizona out now. Easy Money says, now with Arizona and Virginia out of the South region. And Easy Money says, Baylor, they're still left in the South bracket, but Bama will cruise to the Final Four. Baylor's the one team. I think if you look at Baylor, the way their guards are, Keontae George, L.J. Cryer, Adam Flagler, if they're all healthy and they all play a high-level game, they can beat Alabama. But they're all going to have to play a fantastic game if they do play Alabama. And they are a little banged up right now. But it is going to be interesting to see for sure. Health is a key in March. I know, like they always say, every team's banged up this time of year. But you definitely look at it, and you could say that some teams are less healthy than others. And sometimes, even if you're banged up but you're able to play, that's a lot more important than not being able to play at all. So Michigan State's at the line. Now it's 18-11. They're showing right now USC versus Tom Izzo in NCAA tournament history. USC's made 21 NCAA tournaments. Tom Izzo himself's made 24. That's insane. One coach for one team has made more NCAA tournaments than USC in their entire history. That goes to show you how great of a job Tom Izzo has done at Michigan State. He's made 24 NCAA tournaments. They've made the last 24 NCAA tournaments. They still have that streak going. Reese Dixon Waters for 2 for USC. It cuts the lead to 6. 19-13 Spartans tend to go in the first half. Teddy Boy says, I think Houston won't make the Final Four. The way they played last night, they will not make the Final Four. But if they can shake that game off and start playing better basketball, like they're capable of, and Marcus Sasser comes back and he can get healthy, I do think there is a chance Houston could go to the Final Four. But the way they played last night, they will not. They're going to have to play better. So Michigan State with the basketball, 10 to go on the shot clock. A.J. Hogarth Kicks it to Malik Hall. Malik Hall swings it to Joey Hauser. Joey Hauser, he knocks down the three while he was fading to his left. What a shot. 22-13 Spartans. 9:30 to go in the first half. Joey Hauser with 8 points in this first half. Playing solid basketball. USC not playing bad in their own right, but definitely having more struggles than Michigan State. Boogie Ellis, he cannot get going. He just missed a tough two. He's really quiet early in this game. Not a good sign for USC. And USC almost stole the ball, but it's off of the Trojans. Dave says I don't have it, but Maryland, if they're playing their A game, they could beat Alabama. I could see that. If Maryland plays the absolute best game that they could possibly play and Alabama does not play their best game, then that is possible. Teddy Boy says Tom Izzo has seen it all for sure. That's why a lot of people thought that Bob Huggins would win with West Virginia because he's seen it all. But unfortunately, they just could not get the win, but a really good win for Maryland. Sissoko with a big dunk. So Michigan State up by 11 now. And a big block for the Spartans. Now Michigan State's moving the ball down the court. Jay Nakins, he thought about the three, but they call it travel. He took steps. Easy Money says Alabama was not only the number 1 seed, but the number 1 overall seed. They should be in the easiest bracket. Before Zona went out, and not sure they had the easiest overall bracket. It's arguable, but definitely now. I completely agree with you. I mean, Alabama, they definitely got it set up really well for them. The best teams that were in that region are now gone outside of Baylor. I mean, Arizona, a lot of people were picking them to go all the way. And granted, a lot of it was the way they were playing at the end of the season. They beat UCLA in the Pac-12 championship game. But they did not play well against Princeton at all. And it goes to show that they were a team all year long that always underperformed against bad competition. That's why they had all those bad losses in Pac-12 play. It's insane. I think Arizona definitely was a talented team, and they will have some of the players on their team in the NBA, but they just were inconsistent. They call a foul on Michigan State on Trey Holloman. Teddy Boy says Joey's going to have a big game today. It's definitely looking like it. If Joey Hauser is 20 points, it's more than likely going to be the case that Michigan State does win this game. He's already got 8 points. Reese Dixon Waters, he gets the 2 to go in. He had a 1-foot shot, and he almost did not get it over the rim. But it goes down. The Trojans have cut it to 9. Andy Enfield trying to bring his team back. But the Spartans with a 9-point lead, 8 to go in the first. Joey Hauser on the block. What a steal by Kobe Johnson. He throws it off of Hauser. So it's USC basketball. They're fighting back. Teddy Boy said better guard Joey Hauser for sure. Joey Hauser is definitely a problem. Joey Hauser is one of those players that he was really good at Marquette with his brother Sam Hauser, who's in the NBA, and then they decided to transfer to different schools. Sam Hauser went to Virginia. Joey Hauser went to Michigan State. And it seemed like Joey Hauser really struggled when he first got to Michigan State, but now he's playing really good basketball this year. He's finally figured out Tom Izzo's style of play, and he's playing really good basketball now. Sometimes when you transition to a new school, you struggle at first. But he's playing great this year. They do call a foul on Michigan State, so it's 24-15 Spartans, under 8 to go in the first half. Jackson said, I agree. On Houston, they look very sloppy. They definitely did against Northern Kentucky. But Marcus Sasser, his injury is a key problem for Houston. I think that they're going to have to get healthy if they're going to want to make a big run. If Marcus Sasser's not healthy, then there's a really good chance that you could see Houston lose early. But they're going to have to find a way to get healthy and play really good basketball like they did earlier on in the season. And if they can, then I think that you could definitely see Houston go far because they have the talent. And Kelvin Sampson, he's been there before. But it is going to be interesting because they did not look very good last night. Easy Money, he says Bama beat Michigan State in the regular season, another quad one out of conference win. But how did my Crimson Tide lose to Oklahoma? Well, for one thing, you definitely see, that sometimes a team can get hot. You look at Arizona State, the way they played against Nevada. And you look at Penn State, the way they played against Texas A&M. Sometimes a team just has a great game. In Oklahoma that day, Grant Sherfield, the Nevada transfer, had 35 points. He could not miss. He was hitting every shot. And Alabama just could not stop him. If Alabama played Oklahoma again, more than likely Alabama would win. But to your point, it's about being consistent. Easy Money, you're absolutely right. If Alabama, they can beat Michigan State and have all those other great wins in the non-conference, but then you lose to Oklahoma, it does raise a cause for concern that maybe you're a team that's inconsistent. But at least Alabama definitely was not Arizona. Arizona was a lot more inconsistent this season. But Alabama, they have the talent to get the job done. They're going to have to play well every game. Dave Valensky says, when anyone mentions Bob Huggins, all I can think about is players not graduating at Cincinnati. Seriously, the lowest graduation rate in the NCAA at the time. Well, that's not a good sign for sure. I mean, I know there's been a lot of schools and a lot of head coaches when they talk about, the graduation rates while they were there and they were really low. That's unfortunate. You definitely want to see the graduation rates be high. You want your whole team to graduate. So that's really tough. But still, on the floor, as a head coach, Bob Huggins has had a lot of success, regardless of off the floor. But still, you look at Bob Huggins overall, he's going to have to do a better job toward the end of his career at West Virginia if he wants to get the Mountaineers in the tournament higher than a non-seed and find a way to, have some really good performances in the tournament before the end of his career, because definitely the last few years have been tough for Bob Huggins. He's not had a lot of success, but he's a great coach. It's just going to be interesting to see what he can do in the final few years of his career, however long he coaches. But they're showing Boogie Ellis. He averages 18 points per game. He's got 0 so far. So the fact that USC is only down 8 with no scoring from Boogie Ellis is not terrible. Drew Peterson, he's at the line. He hit the first free throw. And Drew Peterson, he hits the second. So it's only a 7-point game. 24-17 Michigan State. 7:50 to go in the first half. Michigan State's hit their last 3 field goals, but USC's hanging around. If they can just start getting some buckets from Boogie Ellis, they could be right back in this one. In Michigan State, they take a tough 2 and they knock it down. 26-17. Big shot for the Spartans. They're playing really well in this first half. They're hitting their pull-up 2s. They've hit some 3s. They're knocking their free throws down. A really good performance in the first half for the Spartans. Boogie Ellis, he faked a 3. He took a tough 2 and he missed. So Boogie Ellis is still off. He's 0 of 4 from the field. Michigan State with the ball. Michigan State is 10 of 18 from the field. USC 6 of 17. So the Spartans are playing really well early in this game. Joey Hauser with the ball at the top of the key, trying to get it to Sissoko. But Joshua Morgan defended that really well. Now it's back to Tyson Walker. Tyson Walker's going to have to make a play, but it goes to Jay Nakins with 1 second on the shot clock, and he misses a 3. USC, really good defense on that possession. Kobe Johnson with the rebound. Trojans trying to find some offense. Boogie Ellis still scoreless in this game. He's trying to make a play. Boogie Ellis is driving all in the paint. He kicks it to Joshua Morgan, and he knocks down the shot. Good decision by Boogie Ellis. He wanted to shoot the ball. He's doing everything he possibly can to get going, but a nice pass to Joshua Morgan. Probably he needs to get some assists first. Maybe try to drive and get fouled and hit some free throws so he can get back in the game. Joey Hauser, he misses a 2. But Sissoko with the board. And they call a foul on Reese Dixon Waters. So Teddy Boy says Pac-12 teams are dwindling down fast. Well, when you look at it, the fact that there were only 4 Pac-12 teams in, anyway, Arizona State, USC, Arizona, and UCLA, it's very easy to dwindle fast, especially when 2 of them lose. If 2 of them lose anyway. Arizona's out of it, and if USC loses today, then that'll be 2 of them out. You'll still have Arizona State and UCLA, but Arizona State could lose today, and that really knocks it out. So it could be down to 1 Pac-12 team after today, but you can still have 3 if Arizona State and USC wins. But that's the reason they're dwindling fast, is because of the fact there's just not that many of them in. It's not like the Big 12 or the SEC or the Big 10 where there's a lot of teams in. But I completely agree with you, Teddy Boy. It does seem that way. If USC goes down in Arizona State, you'll be down to 1 Pac-12 team. But the Trojans don't want to let that happen. Joshua Morgan with a dunk. 26-21, but Jaden Akins with the big slam on the other end. 28-21. What a dunk from Jaden Akins. Xavier and Kennesaw State to start. It's 11-5 Xavier. That was a sick dunk by Jaden Akins. But Boogie Ellis, he has not scored yet, but he's starting to get his teammates involved, which is a good sign. But Michigan State's responding every time USC can get it kind of close. Boogie Ellis at the top of the key on Jaden Akins, who just had that great dunk, into Kobe Johnson in the corner. And Kobe Johnson misses a wide open three. Malik Hall with the rebound. What a highlight reel dunk by Jaden Akins. That might be on SportsCenter. Sissoko tried to get a dunk. He thought he got fouled, but he missed. USC on the other end. Drew Peterson thought about a three. Joshua Morgan for two. 28-23. The Trojans have cut it to 5 again. Easy Money says one day Nate Oates will be mentioned in the same breath as Coach K, Izzo, Bobby Knight, maybe Adolph Rupp, etc. It could be true. I mean, it's definitely early in his coaching career, but I will say that Nate Oates has done a fantastic job at Buffalo and at Alabama. So it could be true, but all those coaches that you mentioned, Coach K, Tom Izzo, Bobby Knight, all those were fantastic coaches. Adolph Rupp as well. Great coaches. So it's 28-23 Michigan State, under 4 to go in the first half, and USC is cutting the lead. Nice pass to Joshua Morgan again. The Trojans are really starting to pass the basketball well. Nice assist from Drew Peterson. That was a really good pass. Morgan has 10 points, all of them on layups. And Tom Izzo, he calls the timeout. He does not like what he's seeing. Easy Money says the SEC still going strong. I was thinking R8 would outlast the Big Ten 8 teams. Penn State had a big one over Texas A&M. I still think in the long run, it's potential. It has the potential for the SEC to advance farther with Alabama if they go really far than the Big Ten. As you look at the Big Ten, they just don't have a team that you could really see saying, hey, they're going to make it to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. Even though Indiana, you never know, or Purdue, it's possible one of these teams can do it. But I do think that the SEC, if Alabama can go far, some other team, they have the potential to definitely last longer, or at least have one team last longer. Dan Jones, he says, my brother, how do I always forget that Michigan State is one of the best coaches around? Pick USC. Shame on me. Well, it's not over yet. I mean, USC is only down 3 on Michigan State, and Boogie Ellis has no points. So if Boogie Ellis can get going in the second half, there's a really good chance that USC could win. Only being down 3 and your best player is not scored is not a bad place to be. But I do agree with you, Dan Jones. It is really tough to pick against Tom Izzo. Sometimes you just forget he's up there in East Lansing. You have all these great coaches, all these great teams, but then you have old Michigan State with Tom Izzo. Teddy Boy said, shame on you, Dan. And he also, I love the USC cheerleaders. Well, I mean, you can't go wrong if you don't win if you're USC. You have a lot of teams that a lot of people mentioned the cheerleaders and they didn't win, but I mean, hey, you got something that's good. Every team is something good for sure. It might not be the level of play, but it might be the academics. It might be the sports facilities. It might be the coaches, cheerleaders, whatever it is. Something's really good. Easy Money says, laughing out loud, Teddy. Jackson says, Boogie Knights Ellis for the assist. Boogie Ellis is passing the ball really well in this game. That's a good sign. I think overall, if you look at Boogie Ellis, the way he's approaching this game right now, he's realizing that his shot is not falling, and he's starting to pass the ball to his teammates, get the ball specifically to Joshua Morgan on the low block, getting him some easy buckets, and that's keeping USC in this game. If he was chunking up shots and not making them, they'd be down 10 right now, but he's realizing his shot's not falling. I'm going to get my teammates involved. Definitely a good strategy. Easy Money says UCLA is always good in the tournament. I think that UCLA is a team that a lot of people are wondering, can they go really far this year? And it will be interesting because of the fact they have the injury to Jalen Clark and Adem Bone has been banged up. But UCLA was really impressive. They were really impressive against UNC Asheville last night. So I think if you look at that, it is definitely possible for UCLA to make a run in the tournament. Teddy Boy said, did his parents really name him Boogie? I mean, I don't know. Boogie Ellis is an awesome name, though. I will say it's pretty cool. But I'm not sure. Malik Hall on the right block. On the left block going to his right hand. He missed. USC with the board. USC has 9 assists on 10 field goals made, and a lot of them have been Boogie Ellis. Boogie Ellis drives in. He hits a floater. Big sign for the Trojans. The Trojans and Spartans, awesome nicknames for both these teams. You got the old Troy Trojans in history. And then you had the Spartans from Greece and Sparta. Both these teams going to battle. 28-27. Malik Hall in the corner for 3, and he misses. And they call a foul on USC on the rebound attempt. But USC is really starting to play well. They've cut it to 1, and they're really scrapping hard in this game. Jackson says, tell you what, I agree. The Pac-12 is out basically, but there are those 2 West Coast Big Ten teams. I mean, those Pac-12 teams, USC and UCLA. I forget this isn't 2024 yet. For sure, but they will definitely be the Big Ten soon. There's going to be a lot of Pac-12 people. It's funny that a lot of the Pac-12 people are USC and UCLA, but now they're, going to be going to the Big Ten. Instead of it being Pac-12, 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 they're just going to ditch the Pac-12 and say, now we're embracing the Big Ten. But, I mean, hey, hopefully the Pac-12 can survive. I mean, it's a really great conference. It's had a lot of history. But you are losing your brands, and that's going to be really tough. But I think that as long, as USC and UCLA are still in the Pac-12, maybe they can, as a swan song going out of the conference, maybe make a big run in the tournament, maybe do some special things in football this last season that they're going to be in the Pac-12 to go out on top maybe. Dave Valensky says it's either players in basketball gotten taller or Tom Izzo's gotten shorter. I don't know. I think it might be a combination of both. I think a lot of, players in college basketball are taller these days. You're not seeing as many 5'11" guys, especially at the Power 5 level. They're going to the smaller schools. But, yes, usually when you get older, you do shrink, unfortunately. Maybe Tom Izzo's gotten a little shorter. Easy Money says, I think Naos has won like 7 straight high school championships. That's awesome. Jackson says, I believe they did name him Boogie. I guess they really love the movie Boogie Nights to the point where they named their kid Boogie. It's funny. Well, I mean, again, it's not a bad name for sure. It's definitely an easy way to remember him. Teddy Boy said maybe his parents grew up in the late 70s disco era. Yeah, boogieing for sure. I mean, some good music back in the day, man. 70s and 80s, and it's got some good music. Still iconic. Dan Jones says, hi, I totally agree. He also says, love the show. By the way, man, you're highly skilled. Thanks, Dan Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love reacting to these games. You guys make it great. If you guys are new, like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys like the stream. But thank you guys so much for being here. We got a really good game, and it's basketball all day long. I mean, you think about it. Just no other sport has what March Madness has. Basketball games on 4 different channels all game long. When it's starting out, it's insane. They're showing the day one bracket picks. Charles Barkley's 12-4. Clark Kellogg's 12-4. Kenny Smith's 11-5. And Steve Lapis is 16-0. That's crazy. How he must have picked Princeton. I don't know if he's going to have a perfect bracket. That's crazy. Easy Money says definitely Bama will outlast any Big Ten, but Arkansas, Kentucky might still be in while the last of the Big Ten fall. Penn State looking good, though, and is Purdue overrated? I agree with a lot of those statements. I think Purdue, for a lot of people, they think they're overrated. I mean, you look at Zach Edey. He's a great player, but it's so tough in the tournament with so many fast teams, especially when you're playing a team like St. Peter's last year. When Purdue lost to them, they had so many smaller guards that were really quick, and they gave Zach Edey fits. And if Purdue's guards are not making shots, they are definitely beatable. I think that makes it tough. I think they're a really solid team, but unfortunately, their style of play definitely hinders them in March. Easy Money says, Dan Ditto, I agree. Jeffrey's good at what he does. Thank you so much, Easy Money. And don't forget, y'all like the stream for sure. Thank you so much. And he also says, laughing out loud, yeah, cool name, Boogie. I mean, again, it makes it so easy to remember. I mean, there's no one else in college basketball named Boogie that I'm aware of. It's a lot easier than when you have a name that so many other people are named as well. You just say, hey, Boogie Ellis, and oh, yeah, it's that guy from USC. So it's 28-all now. USC has tied this game after they were down by over 10 points earlier in the half. But Jackson Kohler with the tough two. He's been getting better and better as the season's gone along. Jackson Kohler will definitely be a force in the Big Ten for years to come, it seems. But it's 30-28 Michigan State with under 2 to go in the first half. USC swinging the ball around. Boogie Ellis, he has only 2 points, but he's starting to get going with passing the ball, and he did hit a floater. He kicks it to Kobe Johnson, and Kobe Johnson for 3. Off another assist from Boogie Ellis, and USC is now up by 1. The Trojans have the lead. It seemed unthinkable earlier in the game. The Trojans are on a 14-4 run in the last 5 minutes. But Jackson Kohler on the block kicks it to Jaden Akins. Malik Hall has the ball, and they're fighting for it down low. Boogie Ellis is on the ground. He stole the ball, but they call a tie up. Man, Boogie Ellis, man, he got hit pretty good on that play, but I think he's okay. But Tom Izzo, you can definitely tell he's getting frustrated with his team right now. The Spartans are starting to let the game slip a little bit. But what a pass by Boogie Ellis. That's an NBA pass. Across the court, right in the shooting pocket of Kobe Johnson, and he knocks down the 3. 31-30 USC. 1 to go in the first. Drew Peterson, he hasn't had a big first half. He's trying to get going. Kicks it to Boogie Ellis in the corner. Boogie Ellis takes a tough 2, and it rims in and out. So still 31-30. A.J. Hogarth's driving in, and he goes coast to coast for a layup. 32-31. 40 seconds left in the first. Really nice shot. So 32-31 Michigan State. A 1-point lead for the Spartans. They've retaken the lead. And it looks like there's a timeout for USC. Teddy Boy says, let's boogie. For sure. He's starting to play well. For all the people that pick USC, that's a good sign. Easy Money said, let's do the Bama boogie. Roll Tide roll, laughing out loud. Well, I mean, again, like you said, and a lot of people have said, it's a really good sign for Alabama that Brandon Miller had 0 points in the last game, and they still won. He has a UCL sprain and is growing, so hopefully he'll be okay. But Alabama has a deep team. They have an athletic team, and they're going to be really hard to beat in March, especially if Brandon Miller can get healthy. But 32-31 Michigan State over USC, 32 seconds left in the first. I think that overall this has been a high-level first half. It definitely looked like Michigan State had a big advantage in this one. Maybe they were going to run away with it, but you knew USC might make a run. They have too much talent to lose this game by a lot. And this could be a game that goes down to the wire in the second. Xavier's up 22-17 on Kennesaw State. What the head coach has done at Kennesaw State's amazing because they were an 8-win program a couple seasons ago, and now they're in the NCAA tournament. What an amazing head coaching job, and he might be getting a Power 6 head coaching job in the future. USC with the ball with 20 seconds left in the half. And Reese Dixon Waters, he pulls from 3, and he knocks it down. The Trojans are up 2. 15 seconds left in the first. The Trojans might take a halftime lead unless Michigan State can score. A.J. Hogarth driving in, and he knocks a 2 in. It's 34 all at the half. We have a tie game. 34-34. You can't get much better than that. A tie game between the Trojans and Spartans at the half. Teddy Boy said, well, I hope my team will play yours in the Final Four. Easy Money. That could happen. Duke's playing well. And Alabama, they're playing great. So it is possible. Jeff says, great stream. I'm finally here. Thanks for being here, Jeff. We got a great game on tap. 34-34 at the half between Michigan State and USC. They're interviewing Tom Izzo. He's probably not very happy with his team's performance in the latter part of that first half, but he's made 25 straight NCAA tournaments, most in NCAA history. That is amazing. Tom Izzo is definitely a Hall of Fame worthy coach. Teddy Boy said, glad you made it, Jeff. I'm glad he's here as well. He also says Boogie Ellis has some skills for sure. Boogie Ellis, if he gets going in the second half, if he can score up to around 20 points in this game, he's had some big second halves in Pac-12 play where he had only like 6 to 8 points in the first half, and then he ends up with 30. So if he can score about 18, 20 points in the second half, there's a really good chance USC wins. I do think that Michigan State, they have the more balanced team. They have a lot of players that can score and contribute, like Malik Hall, Joey Hauser, A.J. Hogarth, Tyson Walker. But I do think that if you look at USC, they are star-heavy with Boogie Ellis, but they can get some contributions from Reese Dixon Waters and Drew Peterson and Joshua Morgan. And Joshua Morgan had a really good first half. And there's a pretty good chance USC can win as well. Easy Money says, Teddy, thumbs up. That'll work for me. Who's your team? Is it Texas? I forgot. Sorry. Which Teddy Boy says Duke. Duke's playing really good basketball at the right time, and that's exactly what you want. Because sometimes teams start out really good early on in the season, and people are pegging them as a potential national championship winning team, a Final Four team, but then they just start to fade. They start struggling. They're not playing as good basketball down the stretch of the season, but you want to be playing your best basketball when it counts in March. That is definitely the key. If you're not playing your best basketball in March, you get prone to be upset, just like Arizona. Jeff says, thanks, man. Again, thanks for being here. Teddy Boy said, I'm just picking Texas to win it all. Texas, they look really good in their first game. I think that Texas is a team that a lot of people might not have faith in because of the fact they've been a team that's lost early in the tournament for so long with Shaka Smart, head coach, and Rick Barnes. But you do look at how they're playing this year. Rodney Terry is the interim head coach. I don't know if he'll get the head coaching job or not, but he has done a really good job to keep the team together after Chris Beard got fired. But they have a really talented team, and if Texas can play well game in and game out and not have any slip-ups, not have a bad game, they had some bad performances in the Big 12. But if they can play at a high level, game in and game out, I definitely can see Texas going all the way. Easy Money says, okay, the Duke boys, good team. Always like Coach K, legendary. Coach K did a fantastic job throughout his tenure. I mean, when he was at Duke, the first 4 years they had a losing record. And they didn't fire him. It was a different era back then where they were really patient with head coaches. And then once he got it going, Duke started winning basketball games in the 80s and 90s. And then they just got better and better. They were great in the 2000s. And then once they got Kyrie Irving and onward, they were getting a lot of the one-and-done players. And Duke's just been so good for so long. A lot of people were wondering how they would do with John Shire. Yes, they have a lot of talent. So that definitely helped the transition for John Shire. But still, you have to develop that talent. And they started to play better basketball down the stretch of the season. They started getting healthy as well. I think that overall that's a key factor is health. A lot of teams are not healthy right now. But Duke's gotten healthy. And John Shire's figured out the lineup rotations. And they're definitely playing much better basketball. Dave said there used to be a guy in Iowa State called Anthony Pigpen. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. It's pretty cool, though. Pretty cool name. Easy Money says, hey to Jeff. Teddy Boy says, the Dallas Mavericks used to have this Chinese player named Juju Wang, who was 6'8", someone held up a sign and said. Well, you look at it overall, I will say that, I mean, there's been a lot of great Chinese players throughout history. I think that you look at Yao Ming. Yao Ming was great. And Zach Edey could be really great as well. But I think that you have a lot of really good players from a lot of countries. And that's what's made the NBA so great now. Because you have players from Africa that are great. You have Chinese players that are great. I think there's just a lot of great players. European players, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo from Greece. Just so many great players. And that's what's made the NBA so tough. And that's why a lot of American players are in Europe, because there's just so many great players from all around the world. It just goes to show that the NBA is definitely the best league in the world in basketball, because you have all these great players from around the world in the NBA. Jeff says Izzo is a legend. For sure. I mean, has he had as much success the last few years? No. It's definitely been starting to trend downward, but he's had so much success for so long, sustained success. The fact that they've never missed the tournament in the last 25 years goes to show the longevity and the fact that he's been able to be so good for so long. It's definitely amazing. It should not be overlooked. I think a lot of people overlook Tom Izzo because they haven't, been to a national championship game in a while. He only has one national championship way back in 2000, which was the last time the Big Ten won a national championship. It's been a long time that the Big Ten had a lot of national champions in basketball, like when Indiana won it all those times with Bob Knight and a lot of other teams. But the Big Ten has struggled on that front, same with Michigan State, but he's had the Spartans be a consistent basketball team year in and year out. And that is the key, sustained longevity of playing well. Easy Money says Izzo is a good coach too. For sure. I mean, he's definitely Hall of Fame worthy in what he's done with Michigan State for so long. And the fact that, now in the NIL era, a lot of coaches have had a tough time adapting. I think he's holding his own. He's doing really good. And it's just awesome to see a program like Michigan State, while they might not be as good as they were maybe 10 years ago, they're definitely a team that has had sustained success. But it's really awesome to see a team like Michigan State in the tournament year in and year out. Easy Money says Nate Oates will one day make that list. Izzo, Coach K, for sure. I mean, I think that Nate Oates, all he has to do is keep winning. How you build that reputation of being a high-end level coach is winning year in and year out, not having bad seasons, not missing the tournament. If you make the tournament every single year at least, that's like your benchmark. You don't want to miss a lot of tournaments. You make basically every tournament or most of your tournaments, and then you have a lot of deep runs and say, hey, I won a national title. I've been to several Final Fours. That's where you start to build your reputation. You don't want to say, well, this coach has missed 5 tournaments in the last 10 years. Yes, he made a national title game, but he's missed 5 tournaments in the last 10 years. You want to make the tournament at least 9 out of 10 years. You want to go to a national championship game, maybe win it, go to a couple Final Fours. If you can do that, again, that is how you build your reputation as a head coach, to say, hey, I'm a part of the elites. Easy Money said it would be a mistake to judge some teams by their early season performance. Just take a look. Duke, Kentucky, even Penn State is turning it up. For sure. I mean, you look at Kentucky, a lot of people didn't even think they make the tournament. The way they were playing earlier on in the year, they started to get things figured out. Later on in the year, Duke as well, the injuries. Penn State's been playing much better basketball. I think you look at a team like Villanova, if they had got healthy quicker, Justin Moore, he came back too late, and Cam Whitmore, he missed a lot of time early in the season as well. I think if you look at a team like Villanova, that their injuries definitely impacted their performance this season, and the fact that they were playing better basketball down the stretch. If they got healthy quicker, Villanova's in the tournament. But thankfully, for the Duke Blue Devils, for all the Duke fans, Duke was able to get healthy at the right time, and they won a lot of games. Teddy Boy says Penn State will definitely be a challenge for Texas. If Penn State shoots the way they did in their last game against Texas A&M, I could definitely see them winning. But the issue with Penn State is they're a team that is not consistently good at shooting threes. They have struggles in some games. If they have a poor performance from 3, Texas will easily win. But if Penn State can hit over 10 threes against Texas, I can definitely see Penn State winning. It will be interesting to see for sure. Jeff says, go Alabama. He also says, hey, Jeffrey, what 3 teams have impressed you the most? That's a great question. I mean, Alabama was really impressive because with Brandon Miller not scoring a point and him being on a minutes reserve because of the fact he's injured right now, and the fact they still put up as many points as they did, that was impressive. I thought Texas was really impressive. It's interesting. I think there's been a lot of impressive. UCLA was really impressive. Now, granted, these are all against teams that are, they're the top seed and they're playing a 15 seed, but then you had Arizona losing. So you have to bring your A game every game. You don't want to overlook the 15 or the 16 seed. So all 3 of those teams were really impressive. I think that you also look at a Penn State. Yes, Penn State, it was only one game, but they were really impressive as well. I don't know if it means they're going to go far and somehow be able to beat Texas, but you never know. Easy Money says, yeah, Teddy, if Penn State is the threes, look out. That dude was nailing, forgot his name for Penn State. Andrew Funk. That guy's a great shooter. Andrew Funk, he transferred in from a really small program, and he, was lighting it up last night. And Jalen Pickett, the way they run offense for Penn State, when Jalen Pickett is backing a guy down on the block, and then he's able to swing it out to Seth Lundy or Miles Dredd or Andrew Funk for three, that makes them dangerous if they hit the shots, because he can get his teammates wide open looks with his style of play. It's kind of like Wyoming. They have a guy named Hunter Maldonado, and he would do the same thing. He would back opponents down, and he would kick it out to his teammates for three. But they had a lot of injuries this year. Graham Ike, their center, he was hurt. That's why Wyoming didn't make the tournament again. But they made the tournament last year, and they were a really good team. But that style of play of having a big guard back the opposing guard down for the other team and then be able to kick it out to his teammates for three is a very interesting style of play, but it can be effective. Easy Money says, roll tide, roll to Jeff. Dave, he says at one time the SEC was just a football, baseball conference. The only good basketball team was Kentucky for a couple of years there. They definitely improved over the years in basketball. 100% sure. And I just think that's a byproduct of the SEC saying we want to be good in basketball. Because you look at it, I think overall, it's going to show with these teams like in Alabama that's great in football. And some people would say in the past, oh, you can only be a football school like Alabama. Kansas can only be a basketball school. It's not true. You can be good in both. If you put money in both, you can be good at both. And I think that overall, the SEC is showing that, yeah, we might be a football conference and really good in baseball as well with Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, some of those teams. But it's going to show they can be a basketball conference too. And I think that other conferences and teams should be wise to do that. A team like Kansas, we could be good in football just like basketball. A team like Indiana, we could be good in football just like basketball. And then these football schools like LSU or Alabama or Ohio State, we can be good on the basketball court as well. I think that that's definitely a good thing for college sports. Some of these universities would say, hey, we could be good in both. We might be better in one than the other, but it's not our only focus, not our only primary focus. Inside the Pylon said, what's up, everybody? Doing fantastic. We got a great game on tap. Michigan State, USC tied at the half, 34-34. Really good game. Really good game overall. I think that it's going to show that both these teams have the talent. It's making the game interesting. But Xavier struggling with Kennesaw State. That's an interesting game there. 30-29 Xavier over Kennesaw State with 6 to go in the first. Kennesaw State, I don't know if they'll be able to pull the upset, but they have good players. They've definitely been a surprise team. Teddy Boy says 3 most impressive teams to me were Princeton, Duke, and Penn State. That's a good list. I mean, Princeton was really impressive, beating Arizona. Duke over Oral Roberts. I mean, Oral Roberts was, for a lot of people, a potential upset candidate, and Duke was not having that. Duke just rolled over Oral Roberts, and Penn State played a fantastic game against Texas A&M. They're just showing on TV some teams to watch for was upsets. They were showing Kent State, potentially Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, Gonzaga could be really good. Kent State, Indiana, Drake, Miami. It's really going to be interesting to see what happens. If there's any upsets. Teddy Boy said, what 3 teams that won look the worst to you? That's a great question. Looking back at yesterday's games, I think Houston looked pretty bad. I think that they definitely struggled against Northern Kentucky. Played a lot worse than they're capable of. So that's definitely a candidate. I think Tennessee as well. Tennessee barely beat Louisiana Lafayette and have, shown yet again that Tennessee is probably going to be a team that loses early, especially the fact they're playing Duke. And if Tennessee plays like they did against Louisiana Lafayette against Duke, they will not win. Tennessee's a better team than that, but they really struggled. But, I mean, most of the teams were pretty impressive overall. I mean, you can make an argument, I guess, for saying like San Diego State, they didn't put up a lot of points, but College of Charleston gave them a big, run in that one. I mean, if you're still counting like the first four as well, Pittsburgh over Mississippi State, that wasn't the most impressive performance, but they survived because Mississippi State missed a shot at the end. So I guess I'll say Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Houston. Easy Money says, Dave, yep, Kentucky has historically been the face of the SEC in basketball. Florida, not now, but was on fire for a while. Arkansas been good, looking good for a while. Now, best of all, the Crimson Tide is becoming elite. I completely agree. I mean, you look at Florida, I mean, they had the heyday with Al Horford, Joakim Noah, won 2 titles back-to-back, the last team to do that in college basketball, which people thinking maybe Kansas could do it this year. Florida won it in 06-07. Billy Donovan at head coach. But Florida's tanked. They're not nowhere near where they used to be. Mike White had them average, but then he left for Georgia. And Todd Golden in his first year at head coach definitely struggled. Teddy Boy says Houston was one for sure on a team that disappointed. Easy Money says, yeah, Houston ugly win, but they won for sure. I mean, again, a win is a win, and they could use that ugly win and say, hey, we're going to bounce back and play much better in the next game. But they're going to have to play much better if they want to advance far because that was not a good performance. Easy Money says, yeah, good list, and congrats to Furman. Furman did a good job. Virginia, their offense fell asleep at times in that second half, and Furman took advantage. They had a big shot to take the lead in Virginia. They had a chance to take the lead again, but they just couldn't get it done. Troy V, thanks for being here. Troy says some good games so far. Well, not morning and not afternoon, brunch time. Well, I mean, it's early afternoon. I mean, it's definitely really early in the afternoon. Thank you guys for being here. Games on all day long. It should be a fantastic day, again, of college basketball and March Madness. I'll probably be going live at 4 o'clock for the Creighton game. And then after that, I probably won't be able to do one tonight, even though it would be awesome. But I got stuff to do tonight. But Creighton, NC State, that should be going at 4. But we got a really good game on right now. Everyone, thanks for being here. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. But a tie game between Michigan State and USC. Can't ask for much more. And Xavier down by 1 to Kennesaw State. 34-33 Kennesaw State. I know Xavier does struggle on the defensive end, which is why I've always felt potentially they could lose early in the tournament, potentially. But I wouldn't expect them to lose to Kennesaw State. But if it happens, that would be insane. But Xavier's definitely a team that does struggle on defense at times, but they can put up a lot of points. So it seems like they're going to have to outscore their way to a win. Davey says, I'm a Minnesota Gopher fan. We are a hockey school by far. The state is hockey crazy. Our high school state tournament rivals Texas football and Indiana basketball. I completely agree with you there. I mean, that's a perfect place for hockey in the north in Minnesota where it's cold. Makes a lot of sense for Minnesota to be a hockey state, and I completely agree. Indiana basketball, their high school games are insane. I mean, they have some high school gyms that are 10 and 12,000. They hold 10 to 12,000 people. That's bigger than a lot of college basketball team stadiums. So Indiana basketball, their high school basketball is unrivaled. It is amazing, and Texas football has great games as well in high school. I completely agree with you. Easy Money says Tennessee looked bad, but old Rocky flop won. It was not a good performance for Tennessee. But a win is a win. But unfortunately for them, they have to play Duke. And if they play the way they did against Louisiana Lafayette, they have no chance to beat Duke. Unless Duke just plays a horrible game. That was not a good performance for Tennessee at all. Easy Money says Bama needs a hockey team laughing. Actually, I'm not sure, but I think UAB might have one. I don't know. Well, it's tough to have hockey in the South. You can do it. It's indoors. Let's make it cold. It doesn't matter. But I just think hockey works better up north. The natural setting works. When in the South, it just struggles to work. Most people like football and basketball, especially football. But I think hockey could work, but it's just the setting's interesting. Teddy Boy says, anyone have any upset picks today? I mean, looking at the games, I could definitely potentially see Iona beating UConn. I wouldn't say it's going to happen, But you look at Rick Pitino at Iona. He's coached against Big East teams. UConn's in the Big East. That's potentially an upset. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm still leaning UConn, but it could happen. And a lot of people picking Indiana to go down to Kent State. A lot of people were picking that one. Some people were picking Drake to beat Miami. I think those are the most possible ones. Teddy Boy said this Xavier game could be an upset. It's possible for sure. They're down 36-34 right now with 3 to go. But the second half for Michigan State and USC is starting. It's 34-all. Michigan State with the basketball. Tyson Walker with the basketball. He was kind of quiet in the first half, but he passed the ball well to his teammates. A.J. Hogarth's driving in, and he scores. Michigan State back up by 2, 36-34, 19:30 to go in the second half. Boogie Ellis had a quiet first half, but he was really passing the ball well to his teammates. Easy Money says Bama versus Maryland, prime time tomorrow night, roll tide roll. For sure. Drew Peterson missed a 3 for USC. That game, Bama-Maryland, could be really good. I see a lot of potential in that game, especially if Maryland plays well. Not saying that an upset could happen, but that should be a really high-level game. A.J. Hogarth, he drove in for Michigan State, and he missed. USC with the rebound. Boogie Ellis shoots a 3. Boogie Ellis misses. He's still cold in this game. But Kobe Johnson, he steals the ball back. He misses a layup. He had an easy layup off the steal, but he missed. Michigan State with the rebound. 36-34 Spartans, 18:40 to go in the second. Boogie Ellis with only 2 points. He's really struggling. And a turnover for the Spartans. Kobe Johnson driving in. He almost loses the ball. Kicks it down to Trey White, and Trey White gets fouled. Troy V says, I have Kent State, Iona, Vermont, and Providence today as upsets. And I could see all of those. Vermont's tough over Marquette. That one's probably the least likely to happen, but you never know. Iona over UConn can happen. Again, Kent State over Indiana. That is definitely a hot pick for a lot of people over Indiana. We'll have to see. Indiana is definitely beatable. But Trace Jackson Davis is more than likely not going to want to lose like that in the round of 64 to Kent State, especially against Kent State's head coach. They got fired in Indiana for recruiting violations back in the 2000s. So Indiana's probably going to want to play really hard in this one. But still, I could see an upset there. Providence over Kentucky could definitely happen. Tayboy says you're picking Iona to beat UConn and Vermont, really? Well, I mean, again, I think the Vermont one's the least likely to happen. But you never know. Princeton beat Arizona. So it could happen, but I would say that one's definitely the least likely to happen. Tyson Walker, he scored 2 more. He's got 8 points, 4 or 5 from the field. 38-36, Michigan State. Boogie Ellis is driving in, and he scores a layup. That might get him going. 38-38, 17:40 to go in the second. This game is going back and forth. And they call a foul on Michigan State. I think an illegal screen. And it has one of the Trojans players, one of the USC players is banged up. Troy says, I did it in my bracket, but I really don't know much about any team in the tournament, laughing out loud. Sometimes it's just best not to know. I mean, if you know so much, it makes it much harder to pick the upset. Sometimes you just go with your gut feeling. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes you could overthink things when you know so much about every team and you're looking at the strengths and the weaknesses. Tom Izzo's mad. He didn't feel like there was a foul there. They're reviewing it for a flagrant, but I don't think Kobe Johnson, he did not get hit that hard. Definitely accidental contact. Easy Money said, I'm kidding. I don't think hockey would work at Bama. We can't even spell puck. Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, I think that sports that don't normally work in places could work, but it's about finding a way to get people from that region to want to watch it, get used to it. But I do agree that it would be tough for that to happen. It would be tough for hockey in Alabama. That's not a flagrant. A.J. Hogarth, he wasn't even looking at Kobe Johnson. Kobe Johnson got hit in the neck a little bit from A.J. Hogarth, reviewing it for a flagrant foul. But I do not see a flagrant foul there at all. Incidental contact. Probably shouldn't even be a foul on A.J. Hogarth at all. Teddy Boy says, still too early to tell in the Xavier game. Let's see if they can hang with Xavier in the second half. Well, it's 38-34 Kennesaw State. They're up 4 on the Musketeers with 2 to go in the first. Upset City could be at hand, but it is early. Teddy Boy says, Troy, did you pick Princeton to beat Arizona? I mean, I don't think a lot of people did. I don't think a lot of people did for sure, even though I thought potentially Arizona could lose early in the tournament because they did perform badly against a lot of teams that they should have beaten in the Pac-12 this year, like Utah, Washington State, Stanford, and Oregon. So I thought there was a potential they could lose. When I saw it was Princeton, I thought Arizona would handle business, but they didn't. They played badly again. Troy says, nope, I think I might have picked the wrong team to lose. That's funny. Well, you gave it your best effort. Some people got it right, but it's so tough with a bracket for sure. Boogie Ellis, they call an offensive foul, I think, on Boogie Ellis. But Tyson Walker's down. Boogie Ellis drove in. A lot of contact. Tyson Walker fell hard on his arm. Boogie Ellis, I don't really see a lot of offensive contact there. I mean, he used a little bit of his arm. I don't know if he necessarily pushed off all the way. Could be a makeup foul for the bad call on the other end, though. Teddy Boy said, I think this USC Michigan State game is going to come down to the wire. As long as these teams keep playing at a high level, both these teams, it should for sure. Teddy Boy says, Tom Izzo's really mad. He's really working the refs. I mean, for sure. I mean, it wasn't a foul, though. It was not a foul. He definitely had a point. But this time they're looking at Boogie Ellis for a flagrant. I don't think this is a flagrant foul either. It's definitely an offensive foul. He did not intentionally try to hurt Tyson Walker, even though that was a tough fall. But I do think that it is an offensive foul. Easy Money says, is Rick Pitino still coaching? I don't know. I wouldn't count them out. They could pull an upset or two. Not likely. But, yeah, Rick Pitino's still there. A lot of people think he could go to St. John's. That's a perfect fit for him. He's been a Big East coach for so long at Providence and Louisville. It would make sense for him to be at St. John's, to be his final head coaching job before he retires. I mean, he could stick it out at Iona until he retires. But if he wants to go back to the Power Six, St. John's makes a lot of sense. Joey Hauser for 3. Michigan State back up 41-38 on USC. And Kennesaw State up 41-36 on Xavier, almost the end of the first half. But Joey Hauser, he's up to 11 points for the Spartans. Boogie Ellis is driving in again, and he scores 41-40. Boogie Ellis is starting to heat up a little bit. Jay Akins in the corner for Michigan State. He misses, but Joey Hauser with the offensive rebound. Malik Hall thought about a 3. But he swings it back out to Tyson Walker, who appears to be okay. Tyson Walker, he drives in and he lays it up and in. 43-40 Spartans, 16-20 to go in the second. Tyson Walker has 10 points. Joey Hauser has 11 points. They're getting a lot of contributions from a lot of players. When the Spartans are doing that, they are a tough team to beat. Joshua Morgan, he takes a long 2, and he airballs it. Not a good shot for Joshua Morgan. He's much better on the low block. He tried to hit a mid-range 2. He can make that shot, but probably not a wise shot to take. So 43-40. Michigan State, 15-50 to go in the second. Tyson Walker trying to shake Boogie Ellis. Jaden Akins, he driving in, and he tried to do a dunk, but he scores. And won 45-40. Jaden Akins has had some big plays in this game. Teddy Boy says, yes, Rick is still there. Easy Money says, yes, I thought so. Thank you. For sure. A lot of people forget he's at Iona. But Rick Pitino is a fantastic head coach. He had all the stuff happen at Louisville. But he's still a really good coach. Easy Money said Iona could upset UConn. I don't know. Is Iona good defensively? I think that they are a pretty good defensive team. I mean, it's really tough to tell when you're looking at the scores for the smaller conference teams because you could see that the score is kind of low, but you don't know if it's good defense or it's just because the team they're playing isn't that good. So it's kind of tough to tell. But I do think Iona is a pretty good team defensively. But they're going to have to be able to put up some points in this game to be able to beat UConn because UConn has been playing well on offense lately. Teddy Boy said, I've not seen Iona play at all. Don't know much about them. With Rick Pitino as head coach, you know they're going to play hard. They're going to do everything they can to win, but they're going to have to play really, really good basketball if they want to find a way to beat UConn because UConn's been playing really well down the stretch of the season, but you never know. Teams that we thought were going to play really well have really struggled. Jackson says Xavier's pulling in Arizona right now. So the term has gone from pulling in Virginia to pulling in Arizona. Teddy Boy says Kennesaw State looking really good so far. Haven't seen them play either before. Like I said, Kennesaw State, they were a team that a few years ago only had 8 wins. But their head coach has really turned them around. It's actually a remarkable job what he's done. And it's really cool to see Kennesaw State in the tournament. And they have a 43-36 lead over Xavier. Definitely the Musketeers are on upset watch. That could be another huge upset. You already had Princeton, Arizona, Virginia Furman, and now you could have Xavier losing to Kennesaw State. Obviously, it's not over yet. That's crazy. Teddy Boy says, ha-ha to Jackson. And Jackson said, words of the day are pulling in Virginia and pulling in Arizona. So both of the terms are now coined. Easy Money says, me either. Teddy Pitino runs a full court press. I think. Haven't seen him in a long while, though. As long as he had this team playing hard defense, I think that you can give Iona a chance to win. I think that it's still going to be really tough because overall, looking at UConn, they're a long team. They have a lot of great players. They have a lot of shooters. So it's going to be difficult overall to be able to slow them down. But I think if Iona can find a way to make it a lower scoring game, find a way to make UConn take tough shots, do the full court press to potentially make, take 10 seconds off the clock, make UConn take longer to get in rhythm on the offensive end, then I think that overall there's a chance Iona could win. But they're going to have to do everything they possibly can to slow UConn down because UConn's really good. It just seems like right now with Kennesaw State, they're not slowing Xavier down. They're just scoring a lot of points. But that would be a huge upset. But Jaden Akins, he's at the line for the extra free throw. And one opportunity, had a big layup. It's 45-40 Spartans, 15-40 to go in the second. And Jaden Akins, he does miss the free throw. Drew Peterson with the rebound. So the Trojans are down 5. Boogie Ellis with the ball. He's going to have to find a way to get going in the second half. He's hit a couple layups. Drew Peterson thought about shooting the ball, but he passed it back out to Boogie Ellis. Boogie Ellis is driving in, taking contact, but no foul call. Michigan State rebound. Tyson Walker's running the floor. Tyson Walker looks cool, calm, and collected right now for the Spartans. Baylor's up 6-2 on UC Santa Barbara early. Malik Hall driving in, kicks it to Joey Hauser, and Joey Hauser misses the 2, and the ball's off Michigan State. USC with the rebound. Tom Izzo not too happy with his team on that possession. It definitely looked a little rattled on that possession. They've had a lot of good sets in the second half, getting some really good shots, but that was not their best possession. But USC with the basketball. Boogie Ellis, he's going to the bench for a little bit of rest. and USC almost turned it over. They do call a kickball. That's a break for the Trojans. But it's going to be interesting to see how they can get some offense going without Boogie Ellis in the game. "45-40. Michigan State, 14:30 to go in the second half. Drew Peterson with the ball at the top of the key. He pulls a three, and he misses. Michigan State rebound. Probably not the best-looking shot there. He is a really good shooter, but Drew Peterson not getting any ball movement. He just takes a three. Michigan State passing the ball well. 8 players with a made field goal today for Michigan State. Tyson Walker down to Carson Cooper for the dunk. 47-40. What a pass from Tyson Walker. Spartans are up 7 now. 14 to go in the second. 0 points for USC in the last 3 minutes. They have not scored in 3 minutes of action. They turn it over again. Tyson Walker going down the floor. He misses, but Carson Cooper with the dunk on the rebound attempt. USC needs a timeout, and they're going to have to get Boogie Ellis back in the game. Right when Boogie Ellis sat down, the game's getting blown open. Teddy Boy said Joey Hauser time. For sure, he's starting to play well, and overall, Michigan State is starting to make some shots. And right when Boogie Ellis went to the bench for USC, the tide is starting to turn. It's not looking good at all for USC. They're going to have to settle things down, find a way to climb back in this one. But if they get behind by too much, they fall behind by 12, 13 points, it's not looking good for the Trojans. Right when Boogie Ellis sat down, the game changed. Dave Valensky said you would think that Xavier would get to play in Columbus, Ohio, not Greensboro. Yeah, it's kind of shocking, especially because they're a 3 seed. You know, usually when you're a high seed, you get the more favorable location. But Greensboro, not a bad location for Kennesaw State. They're out of Georgia, so probably some Kennesaw State fans there. With Xavier, I'm sure a lot of their fans traveled. But they're not getting a good showing right now with their Musketeers down 7 at the half. They're going to have to play much better in the second if they want to win. Easy Money says, how's y'all's weather day out here in my part of Alabama? It's rainy, kind of heavy too. Pretty warm day, probably 70 degrees or right at it. Nice weather. Where I'm at, it's probably in the 50s. I would say it's in the 50s. Sun shining, though. A little bit cooler. It's kind of shocking. You know, usually where I'm at, usually by March, it starts to warm up. But it's been a little chilly lately, but not too bad. But March Madness is on, so whether it's rain or, you know, snow or sunshine, as long as the power's on, you got some internet going on, be able to watch these big games. Teddy Boy's absolutely right. USC not the same team without Boogie in there. I mean, I know you got to rest him. It's tough to play him all 40 minutes. I get Andy Enfield's decision to sit him for a minute. But you can definitely tell the game changed. Because, see, USC on the offensive end does not take good shots when Boogie Ellis isn't in. Sometimes Boogie Ellis is a little shot-heavy himself. I think at times he takes bad shots when he should be passing the ball to his team. But you look at Boogie Ellis, when he's not on the floor, USC was taking really bad shots. Joshua Morgan took a long 2. Drew Peterson took a bad 3. And overall, they were just really struggling to get good shots. They weren't passing the ball well at all. So Boogie Ellis, they need him on the floor. They said 4 7 seeds have made the Final Four. Virginia, 1984, South Carolina, a couple other teams as well. Definitely goes to show that smaller seeds can go far. Or the smaller teams. Michigan State, they're a 7 seed, so maybe they can go to the Final Four if they can get this win, go on a run. I think that overall, Tom Izzo has a team that's capable of going pretty far. But they have to get this win first. Kobe Johnson for 2 for USC, 49-42. The higher seeds can be dangerous. You definitely don't want to overlook any team. Xavier could go down. But it's 49-42 Michigan State, 13 to go in the second. USC got Boogie Ellis back in the game, and they call an offensive foul on Malik Hall. What a play by Boogie Ellis. Tom Izzo is furious. Tom Izzo is furious. He might get a technical foul. He's so upset. Malik Hall was driving it. There's not much there. I will say there's not much there. He didn't really extend the arm. He just drove in, but they call an offensive foul, and Tom Izzo was furious. Boogie Ellis with the basketball, but a turnover, but USC gets the ball back. Reese Dixon Waters picks it up. It's almost a turnover. Reese Dixon Waters to Joshua Moore, and that's where Joshua Morgan's effective, right there, dunking the basketball, not taking long twos. 49-44. Michigan State's leads down to 5. The game's starting to change a little bit now. Boogie Ellis is back in. 12 to go in the second. Malik Hall with a tough 2. He took some contact, no foul call, but what a shot by Malik Hall. 51-44. Drew Peterson kicks it to Reese Dixon Waters in the corner, and Reese Dixon Waters for 3. 51-47. Under 12 to go in the second. Easy Money said better get back to Boogie Wonderland. USC's definitely playing better basketball now with him back in the game. The team seems a bit more relaxed and calm, trying to get back in this one. Tyson Walker kicks to Joey Hauser. Back to Walker. Tyson Walker blows by Drew Peterson. Kicks it to Malik Hall. And Malik Hall misses a 2, but he gets his own miss. But they do call a foul on the drive. So Michigan State with a 51-47 lead with 11:30 to go. High-level basketball game. Easy Money says snow stinks. Keep that stuff out of Bama, but if y'all want it, you can borrow a tornado or 2. I'll probably pass, though, on that. I mean, there's definitely other forms of weather that's better than a tornado. You know, you might not be able to watch too much basketball action if your whole entire house is gone. That'd be bad. Always definitely praying for people when they have tornadoes. It's awful. Teddy Boy says, I want to go see John Wick 4. Sounds good, man. Might be able to do that, you know, once basketball's off. You don't want to miss the big games, but, you know, some people, the games aren't very good. There's not too many interesting teams they want to see play. John Wick 4 might not be a bad option. Teddy Boy said Tom Izzo is mad again and working the refs. I mean, overall, I can see why he was mad on that one, though. I mean, a couple of the ones he's been really mad at, he has a lot of, you know, a legitimate argument for sure. I think that overall, there have been a few bad calls in this game for both teams, but that's just, you know, human beings. The refs make a mistake or 2. Troy V said college basketball is made for upset with these smaller schools having more 3 or 4 year players and know how to play together. The big school with a bunch of younger players do the one and done stuff. I completely agree. Plus, again, the talent in basketball doesn't always win you games either, because you look at football and you have an offensive line full of 5 stars and a defensive line full of 5 stars going up against another team that has 2-star players. The weight room has benefited those 5-star players. They probably weigh a lot more. They're in better shape than the smaller schools. And a team like Alabama would beat the Citadel. But you have these basketball games like Kennesaw State Xavier. If you're Kennesaw State, you can just have a great game. St. Peter's, Loyola Chicago, all these teams that have gone far. It's possible because basketball, even if you have more talent, you can still lose because the other team, while not as talented, can win because they have a really good shooting night. That's why basketball is awesome, because upsets happen all the time, and you never know when they're going to happen. Dave Valensky says, happy St. Patty's Day. I'm drinking my goose now. For sure. I got a green shirt on. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Some people probably maybe forget about that, but St. Patrick's Day, still a really cool holiday. Breeded in Irish history. St. Patrick. It's really cool. We got some St. Patrick's Day basketball going on. You got Michigan State. Will the green team get the win on St. Patrick's Day, or will USC spoil the party? It's a 51-47 lead for Michigan State. The Spartans have 28 points in the paint. That's huge right there. They're scoring a lot of their points inside, getting some easier buckets. Malik Hall, he hits the first free throw. So now it's a 5-point lead, but Tom Izzo's still mad. He even broke the clipboard. Tom Izzo broke the clipboard. Man, I would always feel bad for a clipboard with a coach because you know you're going to get broken eventually. 53-47 Michigan State. 11:20 to go in the second. Drew Peterson drives and takes a step back too. Knocks it down over Malik Hall. Tough shot for Drew Peterson. But we got a really good game here going back and forth. 53-49 Michigan State. 11 to go in the second. Joey Hauser with the basketball. He's driving in, kicks it to Jaden Akins, who's had a really good game. Couple of highlight plays. Jaden Akins driving again. He takes a tough two, and he misses. Reese Dixon Waters with the rebound. Kicks it to Boogie Ellis. And Boogie Ellis get going for USC. Winner of this game will play Marquette or Vermont. Reese Dixon Waters driving for USC. He almost turned it over, and he did turn it over. Drew Peterson tried to save it, but Tyson Walker with the steal. Tyson Walker to Jaden Akins, and he gets fouled. Troy V says, you can keep that humidity in Bama. I'll keep my snow. For sure. Depends on what you like, for sure. Easy Money says, Troy, that's another good thing about my Crimson Tide. They have great chemistry. That's a lethal combination. Great players with team bonding. That's why Bama is going to win the chip. Who knows if we're going to be able to win a championship, but they have a really good chance, which is much more than you can say for Bama in past years. They have a really good team. Jaden Akins hits the first free throw, but I agree with the chemistry. Alabama's got a good team. They play well together. So it's definitely possible. Jeff says, I'm going with Izzo. Well, right now, Michigan State with a 5-point lead. 10:25 to go in the second. Jaden Akins, he misses the second free throw, rolls off the rim. So only a 5-point lead for the Spartans. Boogie Ellis still not having the biggest game in the world. If he can get going late in this game, USC still has a good chance to win. Boogie Ellis trying to drive. He gets trapped, but he kicks it to Drew Peterson, but they do call him out of bounds. His foot was on the line. And Andy Enfield's getting mad now. Both coaches are angry. But, yes, Boogie Ellis did step out of bounds. He did not make that pass before he stepped out. So even though Andy Enfield's mad, the refs got that one right. Back-to-back turnovers for USC, which is tough at this juncture of the game. They need shots, not turnovers. A.J. Hogarth's driving in. It looked like maybe a decent block by Joshua Moore, but they call a foul. Easy Money says, Troy, you got me there. We've already had humid days in February and March already. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you want warm weather sometimes, but you don't want the humidity. The humidity can go away. That part stinks. Troy V says, I have Bama winning it all too. If they play well, every single game in the tournament, they can win the whole thing. A.J. Hogarth gets the first free throw, Michigan State. Now up by 6. Teddy Boy says Tom Izzo is going to have a stroke if he doesn't calm down. Well, hopefully Tom Izzo calms down. We do not want him having a stroke, for sure. A.J. Hogarth hits both free throws, 56-49. Under 10 to go in the second. USC, 2 turnovers in a row. They're going to have to get back on track. They get it to Joshua Morgan on the left block. Drew Peterson with the ball. Trying to find some space. Drew Peterson's driving in. Kicks to Morgan. And Joshua Morgan misses the shot. But they call a foul on Joey Hauser. Teddy Boy says, amazing how USC is a totally different team with Boogie in there. I mean, for sure. Some teams, it's one of those things where one player is the catalyst for everything that they do. I think if you take Jalen Pickett out of Penn State, they're a team that's the same thing. They start to crumble. That's why they have to play most of the game. The guards. Boogie Ellis passes it to Joshua Morgan. He reposts, but he turns it over. A.J. Hogarth on the breakaway, and he lays it up. 58-49 Michigan State, 9:10 to go in the second. Looks like USC might call a timeout. They're falling behind. But Baylor, they're up 21-16 on UC Santa Barbara. Xavier's still down 43-36 at the half. Second half has not started yet. Probably will be really soon. Jeff says Bam has a great mascot too. Oh, yeah, baby. Well, I mean, the Roll Tide Roll, Crimson Tide, the elephant, Big Al. I mean, I've always wondered why Crimson Tide has an elephant, but sometimes the mascots don't match their name. Sometimes they do, like LSU Tigers, the tiger, or Clemson Tigers with the tiger. But Alabama with Crimson Tide. Got the elephant. He's really cool. Definitely a very iconic mascot, just like Brutus at Ohio State or the Oregon Duck. Some great mascots for sure. Troy V says Michigan State will be smart to do whatever they could to get that Boogie kid to foul out. USC has a fighting chance with him. Not much of any chance without him, for sure. But USC is definitely starting to struggle. They've had 3 turnovers in their last 4 possessions. They only had 3 turnovers in the first half. So Boogie Ellis has to get going for USC or it will be too late. Reese Dixon Waters as well. He's been cold in the second half. Drew Peterson dribbling the ball at the top of the key. Kobe Johnson. They're trying to get some offense. Kobe Johnson for 3, and he misses. USC with the offensive rebound. Drew Peterson cannot get going either. Reese Dixon Waters. What a block. What a block by Sissoko. A.J. Hogarth to Joey Hauser to Tyson Walker in the corner for 3. Tyson Walker misses. That would have been a dagger 3 right there. They do call a foul on Sissoko. I will say USC's not taking good shots in the second half, though. That's been a big problem for them in this game. They're taking a lot of tough shots. Michigan State's taking easier shots. But it's going to be very interesting to see if USC can get going in the last 8 minutes and 30 seconds. They have the talent to get the job done. They are really struggling on offense right now. Easy Money says Izzo better pull an answer for Boogeyman out, or USC will come back comfortably for Sparty at the moment, though. Definitely. Boogie Ellis, he's a really good player, but he is struggling a little bit right now. Overall, the whole entire team for USC just taking bad shots. Kobe Johnson with a tough floater, and he misses. Another big miss. USC is cold. They have not scored in several minutes. Michigan State with a couple more buckets could really blow this thing open. A.J. Hogarth dribbling at the top of the key. He's driving in. Kicks to Joey Hauser in the corner. And Joey Hauser misses the 3. Boogie Ellis with the rebound. 0 points in 3.5 minutes for USC. But Reese Dixon Waters in the corner had a really good look from 3, but he couldn't knock it down. Another miss for USC. Their offense has disappeared. Dave Valensky says State's been able to get about 9 or double digits, and then USC makes a bit of a comeback. Hopefully State will be able to hold off USC for my bracket. Well, it's definitely looking that way right now. USC cannot score. Michigan State with another miss, but they do call a foul on USC. Kennesaw State Xavier's just started the second half. Baylor's got a 22-19 lead over UC Santa Barbara. Dave Valensky says, I'm biased, but Goldie the Gopher is my favorite mascot. He's really cool as well. There's so many great mascots. And then you have some teams like Indiana that don't even have a mascot. Teddy Boy said, anyone here pick Kennesaw to beat Xavier in their bracket? I definitely would not have picked Xavier to lose. If I made a bracket, I would have picked Xavier. But, I mean, it's definitely a possibility right now. Minute into the second half, and Xavier still has not scored. They're still down 7. Jeff says, oh, yeah, easy money, where legends are made. That's definitely Alabama. Their slogan for sure. They've definitely had a lot of legends in sports. Easy Money says there's a story behind the elephant back in the day. A sports writer described the football team compared to the opponent as looking like Hacketters compared to the other team. That's funny. I mean, I completely agree, with mascots that they do make the team a lot more recognizable. Like, even though a lot of people don't like Purdue's. I mean, Purdue, their mascot is really iconic. A lot of teams have iconic mascots, but they're really cool. I mean, not every team has one. Like I said, Indiana doesn't, but I think that it's really cool to have a mascot because you can say, hey, look, that's so-and-so's team. That's that team. It's really cool. I like mascots a lot. Troy V said, nope, didn't pick that, but really there was no rhyme or reason. My picks just did a bracket for the fun of it. A lot of people do. I mean, it's no big deal when you don't get them right, especially if you don't have any money on it. Easy Money said, Miami mascots in the biz. Looks like a dollar store duck. Definitely. The Oregon duck is an actual duck. That's the iconic duck. Tayboy said, did they get Tom Izzo another clipboard? I'm sure they did, but he destroyed that first one. I mean, he just broke it right in half. I mean, what's funny is that he broke the clipboard in a game that the free throw line has been fairly even. And there's been a couple bad calls, but the play that he got upset about, I mean, it wasn't the worst call in the world. I can see why he was upset, but man, he was angry. He was just furious. Troy says my team's mascot's a nut. Laughing out loud, the Buckeye. Brutus. Teddy Boy says Miami mascot is a duck, I think. It technically is, but it is definitely not the Oregon Duck. Michigan State misses the first free throw. Dave Valensky says Michigan used to have an actual Wolverine at one time back in the 50s and 60s. It didn't last that long, laughing out loud. That's crazy. Well, it's kind of like how Colorado brings the buffalo on the field, or Texas has the big longhorn. I mean, obviously they have their mascots, but then they have the actual animal too. It's crazy. USC has missed their last 5 field goals, but they got a break with Michigan State missing both free throws, 7 to go in the game. Boogie Ellis trying to find some offense. Reese Dixon Waters with the basketball, trying to shoot over A.J. Hogarth, and he misses as well. USC is so cold on offense right now. They have not scored in almost 5 minutes. If Michigan State can get up to around 70 points, it definitely looks like USC won't be able to come back. They just can't score right now. Their offense is falling asleep. Boogie Ellis almost with the steal, but Michigan State retains possession. Malik Hall on the left block, driving on Reese Dixon Waters, and he knocks it down. 60-49, Michigan State. And now Xavier's down by 49-38. They're down by 11 points. But a 7-0 run for Michigan State. Trey White drove in for the Trojans. He missed, but Joshua Morgan with the putback. Finally, USC scores. 60-51. Joshua Morgan with a solid game has 14 points. But USC's only hit 7 shots this half. Michigan State has hit 10 shots. Michigan State trying to get set on offense. A.J. Hogarth trying to make a play. He's driving in, lays it up off the glass, but too strong. USC with the rebound. A chance for the Trojans to cut the lead, but they turn it over. Another turnover for the Trojans. 60-51, 5:30 to go. A.J. Hogarth with the basketball. 9 turnovers for USC in this game. Joey Hauser in the corner for 3. And Joey Hauser for 3. Michigan State up 63-51. USC's running out of time. Easy Money says, laughing on Troy, a Buckeye poison nut at that right. Easy Money said, tell you well, if it looks like a duck. Troy V says, yeah, we're not just nuts, we're deadly to boot. For sure, Ohio State is definitely a tough team in football. But Michigan State with a 12-point lead. Boogie Ellis with a tough 2. He misses. And Michigan State with the rebound. It's looking more and more like Michigan State is going to win this game. Still enough time for USC to potentially come back, but their offense is cold. Boogie Ellis only has 6 points in this game. He averages 18. It's not enough points. Jaden Akins in the corner for 3, and he knocks it down. Michigan State up by 15, 66-51. 4 to go. That might be it for USC. Their offense fell asleep for too long. What a performance by Michigan State in the second half. They've taken advantage of USC getting cold from the field. Kennesaw State now 51-38 over Xavier. Troy V says Georgia has that lazy dog that sleeps all game. For sure, he's missing the football game. He just sits there. Easy Money said laughing out Troy, but how about us Bama fans? We're nuts too, laughing out loud. I think most of the top teams, especially in football, the fans are a little crazy. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson. I mean, you got a winning, team and a fan base that wants to win all the time. And when you drop a game, it's crazy. Easy Money said, I reckon TCU woke that dog up, though, laughing out loud. Oh, man, 65-7. What a game by Georgia. That was a blowout. It really stinks for TCU, too, because I was glad that they were in the playoff and they beat Michigan. But the talent gap's just so large between Georgia and a team like TCU. Teddy Boy said, I smell another upset coming. Yeah, I was going to end the stream after Michigan State USC, but I might have to hang around for Xavier to see if they can come back. But then I got to drop off, and I'll be back later, 4 o'clock, for the Creighton game between NC State. Should be a great game. I'd love to do a game tonight as well, but unfortunately I'm just pretty busy later. But definitely be watching the games when I can. Got some awesome games in March Madness. Thanks for being here, everybody. Teddy Boy says Xavier's in trouble. I mean, it's insane. They're down by 13 points. It's not a 5-point deficit. They're down by 13 against Kennesaw State in the second half. And Baylor's down by 2 on UC Santa Barbara. Troy said, for sure, y'all are nuts down there. Alabama fans, for sure, can be a little crazy, and Georgia fans. Easy Money says, I'm going to try to make it to the end of this game, Jerry, but I might have to go. Phone is at 8%, but I'll try. Thanks for being here, Easy Money. If your phone runs out of battery, I completely understand. Thanks for being here. You're awesome, man. Teddy Boy says, Joey Hauser is deadly. Yeah, Joey Hauser is a great shooter. And when he transferred from Marquette, he had a bad season or two. At Michigan State, he was not shooting the ball really well. He wasn't a confident player. But this season, he's regained that form. And he's definitely a potential NBA player. I don't know, with him being an older player, if he'll get a big look. But he's a good shooter. Really solid defender. Good rebounder. I think that overall, he's a solid player. And he's definitely playing really good basketball this season for Michigan State. One of their best players. And a big reason why the Spartans are in great shape to win this one. Drew Peterson driving for USC, and he misses another floater, but USC gets the rebound. Kobe Johnson for 3, and he knocks it down. USC, big shot. They've cut it to 12, but still only 3:50 to go in the second. Now USC's trying to do some full court pressure. Tyson Walker drives in, misses a floater, USC with the rebound. Reese Dixon Waters with the basketball. USC's going to have to make some shots and quick if they're going to have any chance for the comeback. Boogie Ellis only with 6 points in this game. He kicks to Kobe Johnson. And Kobe Johnson for 3. USC's cut it to 9, 3:20 to go. It might not be over yet. Dave says, I love that Bulldog. Teddy Boy said the Georgia Doll's name is Uga. For sure. I love when Lee Corso is always petting Uga. It's awesome. I hope Lee Corso will be okay. I love him on College Game Day. He's awesome. Jeff says Michigan State is rolling. They are for sure. But Michigan State just missed again, and USC has the ball. USC has a chance. If they can hit some more threes, cut this lead. But Boogie Ellis only with 6 points in this game. Big key why USC is losing. Kobe Johnson with a step-back 3, but he misses. And Michigan State with the board. That's a big miss. That could have cut the lead to 6. Kennesaw State still up by 13 on Xavier with 15 to go in the game. That's crazy. Baylor's down by 2 on UC Santa Barbara. So a lot of these smaller teams playing really good. And VCU's beating St. Mary's 3-0. No score for St. Mary's 3 minutes in. Malik Hall for 2. He misses. USC with the board. Not much time left. And Boogie Ellis slips. Michigan State picks it up. Tyson Walker, he takes it back out. If USC had had more offense in this game, they could have won. But their offense just fell asleep. And they call a foul on Boogie Ellis. Teddy Boy says Joey Hauser's shooting almost 50% from 3. That's crazy. I completely agree. He's shooting the ball really well from 3 this year. Boogie Ellis has 3 fouls. But now that USC's starting to have to play the foul game, Michigan State's a really good free throw shooting team. It's going to be really tough for a comeback. But 66-57. Michigan State, 142 to go in the game. A.J. Hogarth at the line, but he does miss the 1-on-1. And USC with the rebound. Still a last gasp chance for the Trojans. And Michigan State with the rebound again. Easy Money says, yeah, Michigan State looks to win. They're really getting close to pulling this one out. If USC had been able to make some more shots, I think they had a chance. But they just kept missing. Sometimes it is what it is. You just can't make the shots. Easy Money says 5% battery warning. I'm still hanging. I'm on the bubble. Might make the last 3 minutes. I hope you can. But again, thanks for being here, man. You've made this stream awesome. It's been a great game. USC's trying, but just can't make shots. Unfortunately, you have to make shots to win. A.J. Hogarth with another miss at the free throw line. USC for 3, Kobe Johnson. He misses again. USC's taking threes, and they're just not making them, and now they foul Michigan State again. That's 3 possessions in a row USC had. If they had to score 2s on all those plays, they could have been down by like 2 points right now, 2 or 3 points. So USC's had their chances. Easy Money said, love Lee Corso, hate about his declining health. It's awful. Lee Corso is awesome. He's a staple. I've been watching him on College Game Day my whole life. Always had so many fond memories of watching him. It's just sad. But hopefully he'll be okay. But he's a legend regardless. Sissoko at the line, and he misses for Michigan State. They've missed 3 1-and-1s in a row, and USC has another chance. And USC turns it over. USC's missed 2 threes, and they have a turnover on 3 missed free throws on 1-and-1s for Michigan State. You can't ask for more chances. USC's had every chance in the book in this one. So Michigan State's going to probably win this game. But USC's had so many chances. More chances than most teams get. Troy V says USC has to find some defense and some offense. They look done. For sure. I mean, they just keep making mistakes. They're turning the ball over. They're shooting threes and not making them. It's unfortunate for the Trojans. They have a good team. But they just did not hit the shots when necessary. Easy Money says 3% battery left, 124 left in the game. Hey, you're about out of battery life, man. But again, thanks for being here. But it's looking like you're definitely gonna have to charge that thing up. It's about to not make it anymore. Jackson said, oh man, Xavier's really getting embarrassed. Kennesaw State is about to party all night long. I mean, they're up 55-42 right now. There's 12:25 left in the second half. And Kennesaw State has a 13-point lead on Xavier. Xavier's gonna have to make a move. Michael Williams, thanks for being here. Michael, he says, who do you like between Kentucky, Providence? I'm leaning Kentucky, I think, but I can't see Providence winning. I think they should be higher than an 11 seed. I like them better as an 8 or a 9 seed. I don't know why they're an 11 seed. Some people are talking about their quad wins. They don't have a lot of them, quad 1 wins. But I do think that overall, Kentucky has more talent than Providence. But I could see Providence getting the win, but I would lean Kentucky. But it will be interesting. Should be a good game. Teddy Boy said Kennesaw State is pulling away a little bit. I mean, it's 55-44. Xavier just scored, but they're still down 11 with 12-14 to go. Baylor's tied with UC Santa Barbara 30-all, and St. Mary's is beating VCU 4-3. St. Mary's is a good team, but their offense is kind of like Virginia. They can fall asleep at times. Easy Money says he's going with Kentucky. Jeff says, hang on, man, hang on. I think Michigan State's going to hang on. USC's had so many chances. I mean, again, most teams do not get this many chances. It's amazing how many chances USC's gotten. And normally, Boogie Ellis would hit enough shots to give him a chance, but he just has not had a good game. With Michigan State, USC's having to foul again. Easy Money said 107 left. Can my battery pull out the win, laughing a lot, 2%. It's on a commercial. That's the tough thing about the end of college basketball games, is that there's so many fouls and commercials. It makes the game longer than it really needs to be. Would everyone like the stream down below? Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Thanks for being here. Got a good game. Teddy Boy said that commercial might do it easy. Do easy in. Haha. Hang on, Easy Money. Easy Money says, later, Jeffrey, been fun, but I'm 1%. Everyone have a great show. Thanks for being here, man. Thinks he ran out of battery, but the game just wouldn't end. Easy Money says, bye, y'all. Again, thanks for being here, man. Michael says, do the Memphis game tonight. I really want to do that game, but I don't think I can. I'm probably going to be able to do a 4 o'clock game, probably the Creighton NC State game, but I'm very busy tonight, so I won't be able to do a game tonight. I really want to do that one, but unfortunately just won't have time. But if Memphis wins, I'll probably definitely consider doing the Memphis game, whoever when they play their next opponent, if I have time. Thanks for being here, Michael. Troy says, have a good one, Easy. It's 67-57, Michigan State, 55 seconds left in the second half. And it definitely looks like USC is out of chances. They just have gone cold on offense in the second half. Joey Hauser's at the line, where he's a great free throw shooter. Michael says Xavier is missing their best player, Zach Freeman, not trying to make excuses, for sure. I mean, his injury definitely hurt them at the end of the season. They're not as good of a team without him. But still, to your point, you got to beat Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State's been a great story, but you still got to beat them. 69-57, Michigan State. $55 seconds left. So it's definitely looking like Michigan State's got it. But UC Santa Barbara with a 32-31 lead over Baylor. That's interesting. Now 34-31 lead for UC Santa Barbara. Teddy Boy says he didn't know that, Michael. And Zach Freeman is a solid player, but Xavier still has Sule Boom, the transfer from UTEP, Jack Nungy, Colby Jones. They have a lot of firepower. They should be doing better than that. Again, Kennesaw State's a great story, and they've been playing much better basketball this season than they have in the past. But still, that would be a major upset. I would argue, in a way, that would be a bigger upset than Princeton, Arizona. I know the seed line's not as high, but I feel a lot more people thought Arizona could potentially lose because of the fact that they were a team that was inconsistent. But Xavier has had a great season. They did lose to DePaul in the Big East. That was their only really bad game. But in that game, they didn't have Zach Freeman either. With 69-57, Michigan State, 55 seconds left. Spartans played really good basketball down the stretch. USC just could not find any offense. I think overall USC is a team that has talent, and they could have gone far in this tournament if Boogie Ellis had to play well. But when your best player is not making shots, it's tough to win. He only has 6 points. Drew Peterson for 2. USC cuts it to 10 with 47 seconds. But Boogie Ellis just did not have a good game. He was passing the ball pretty well in the second, but he just wasn't making shots. And Michigan State hit enough shots. Now, they gave USC chances by missing a lot of 1-and-1s. Still, Kennesaw State 57, Xavier 46, 10:54 to go in the second. And UC Santa Barbara is a 1-point lead over Baylor at the half. St. Mary's is beating VCU 10-8. But Tyson Walker at the free throw line for Michigan State. He knocks it down 70-59. If USC misses their next shot, they'll probably stop fouling and the game will be over. Tyson Walker with the second free throw, and he knocks it down. Really good free throw shooter. He had a solid game, 71-59. Boogie Ellis with only 6 points and 4 fouls. Michigan State playing good defense. USC throws it up, and they bank in a three. They've cut it to 9, but it probably will be too little too late. USC fouls A.J. Hogard, and he'll be going to the free throw line. They might have called that foul on Boogie Ellis. And if it is, that's his 5th. And he's fouled out of the game. But Xavier's still down 57-46. 10:45 to go. A.J. Hogard, he's an 81% free throw shooter. He's 2 of 4 today, only 10 points. He's not had his best game. But with so many other players getting contributions for Michigan State, he hasn't had to have a big game. But as long as Michigan State hits free throws, they will win this game. Teddy Boy said Tom Izzo, almost 70. You better learn to calm down at that age. And yes, Boogie Ellis did foul out. The main catalyst for USC's offense is out of the game. That's a tough loss. And A.J. Hogard hits the first free throw. But I agree with you, Teddy Boy. Tom Izzo, he's getting older. Probably needs to calm down a little bit. You don't want to give up that fire and intensity. So it makes him a great coach. But still, you don't want to overdo it either. I agree. Hogard, he misses the second. Really struggling at the line today, but Michigan State still up by 10. 30 seconds to go. USC with no timeouts. Reese Dixon Waters, he misses a layup, and that might be it. Michigan State bringing the ball up the floor. USC doesn't look like they're going to foul. Tyson Walker with the ball, and this game's over. 72-62, Michigan State is going to be the final score. The Spartans are running out the clock, and Tom Izzo is moving on to the round of 32. What a win for the Spartans. USC went cold late in the game, could not make shots, and Boogie Ellis with only 6 points in the whole entire game, and he fouled out. Definitely shows you why USC did not win this game. An all-around effort from the Spartans, and Michigan State is moving on. Really solid game. 72-62 final. But definitely, since it's on upset alert, I'll go over to the Xavier game. Check that one out. See what happens in this one. And then after that, I'll be heading off and coming on later at 4 o'clock. But this will be crazy if Xavier loses. But what a game for Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Troy V said was a good game to the second half, and that's exactly when USC's offense felt cold. Dave Valensky says, can you name all Philadelphia 5 schools? Off the top of my head right now, I know you got Temple, Villanova. It's a good question, though. It's a really good question. Philadelphia has some good historical basketball teams for sure. I think overall, you look at Temple, they used to be really good in the past. And Villanova's had a big run. Jeff says, awesome stream. Thanks a lot. Had a lot of fun. Way to go, Tom Izzo. But I think that game shows you that one, bad game from your best player can sometimes end it all. And USC just did not get a lot of offense out of Boogie Ellis. Hurts. I think if I remember, LaSalle might be in Philadelphia too. I can't remember. But yeah, Philadelphia's got some good teams. Teddy Boy says Xavier's in serious trouble now. For sure. Jackson says Sean Miller always comes up short in March. He's a great regular season coach, but he's a disaster in the postseason. You do look at Arizona. Arizona, he lost to Buffalo when he was the head coach there in the first round. And that was a big upset then. Nate Oates was at Buffalo, and they beat Arizona. But now they're potentially going to lose again. They're down by 10 points, 61-51, 9 to go. Jackson says you got Villanova, Temple, St. Joseph, LaSalle, and Penn. There you go. Pennsylvania. That's in Philadelphia. You have Penn State. Makes sense. Jerome Hunter's 22 points for Xavier. That's crazy. The transfer from Indiana, he's having a good game. And a turnover from Kennesaw State, so maybe Xavier can get back in the game. But yeah, St. Joseph's as well. That's the University Joe Lenardi came out of. The Red Hawks, the one where the bird goes up and down. All game. But yeah, Villanova, Temple, St. Joseph, LaSalle, and Penn. Figures I remember LaSalle. But yeah, St. Joseph's and Penn. I know all five for sure. Good universities. Obviously, been struggling a little bit lately with St. Joseph's and LaSalle. They have not been good in a long time. St. Joseph's was pretty decent a few years ago, but Temple's had a great history. And Villanova, obviously what Jay Wright did was incredible. But all those schools are kind of down right now. Teddy Boy says St. Joseph's have the Owls mascot too. It's crazy. The guy in the mascot goes up and down all game long. I mean, he works harder probably than the players. It's amazing. Troy V says, been enjoying your streams during this first round. The people in chat have been fun as well. Thanks. Thank you for being here, Troy V. You guys have made it awesome. I've been having a lot of fun doing these. It's been some great games, but Xavier's trying to make a comeback. Teddy Boy says, oh, Xavier's cut it to 10. They're definitely getting close. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this game. Dave Valensky says Temple, Penn, LaSalle, St. Joe, and Villanova, the 5 Philadelphia schools. At one time, they used to play at the same arena, Penn Arena. That's cool. That is really cool history right there. But you have a lot of, universities now. They're playing in, the different stadiums now, and if they're in the same city, because they probably have more money to do so. But that's really cool that back in the past they shared an arena. It's cool. Kind of like how Madison Square Garden plays so many events throughout the year. Teddy Boy says down to 8. Xavier is making a comeback. This is their last gasp chance. They have to come back very soon if they want to have a chance. But it's going to be very interesting. I think overall you do look at the fact that Zach Freemantle was hurt for Xavier makes a difference, but still they should be winning this game. Just like Baylor with UC Santa Barbara, they're down 1.5. Just a lot of these smaller teams are giving the bigger schools fits. It's making March Madness so much harder to predict. That's why a lot of people are predicting Indiana to lose. Or Miami to lose. It's going to be interesting to find out, though. I'm looking forward to the later games. Wish I could stream later, but just can't. But still, just going to be a lot of games. It's going to be awesome. But can Xavier make a comeback? It's going to be interesting for sure. I think that Sean Miller, to Jackson's point, has lost a lot early in his early in the NCAA tournament throughout his career. He's lost really early. And when you do that several times, like a Rick Barnes or a Sean Miller or even Tony Bennett outside the championship run, you start to build that reputation that you can't advance. And it's tough to overcome as a head coach. And sometimes it's psychological through your players as well. They're like, we got to win this game. We cannot lose this game for our coach, for our team. And then you play way too anxious and you lose. So it will be interesting to see if Xavier can come back, but this will be a massive upset. Even though Sean Miller has lost early before, that'd be crazy. They said 14 seeds are 22 and 126 all time in the round of 64. Abilene Christian beat Texas in 2021, and that was the last game for Shaka Smart at Texas. But Kennesaw State, they're up 8. Can they hold on to the lead? Good defensive play by Jack Nungy. Xavier with the basketball down 8, under 8 to go. And Xavier's made 6 of their last 7 field goal attempts. Sule Boom at the top of the key. Had a really good season for Sean Miller. And he knocks the shot down. Xavier's cut it to 6. The comeback is on. Kennesaw State still with a 6-point lead, but Xavier's on a 7-0 run in the last minute and a half. Can the Musketeers come back? Kennesaw State looking a little riled, but nice drive. And they called off Kennesaw State, but that looked like potentially a foul on Xavier. Kennesaw State drove in, a lot of contact, but they didn't call a foul. Troy V said that would be a scheduling nightmare day for sure. To have all those teams playing in the same arena, and you'd have to have them playing at different times, that's insane. And you already have it like with teams that have women's basketball as well, and they play in the same building. You have to do it at different times. So it's 61-55 Kennesaw State over Xavier, 7 to go. Can Xavier make the comeback? Kennesaw State's playing really good defense. Xavier with 5 seconds on the shot clock, but they call over and back on the half court. Xavier with the turnover. Sean Miller is upset. It did. It went off of the Xavier player. He threw it in the backcourt. It got turned over. Xavier's 10 turnovers. Teddy Boy says Michigan State better bring more than one clipboard for their next game. That probably would be a good decision, especially with the amount of clipboards that Tom Izzo has broken throughout his career and the fact he just broke one. I think that would definitely be a good decision. Kennesaw State shooting a 3, and they miss. Xavier with the rebound. 6:30 to go in the second. Kennesaw State's gone cold from the field. And Xavier, they miss an easy layup, but Jerome Hunter taps it back in. He taps his own miss. 61-57. Kennesaw State, no points in the last 4 minutes. They're clinging to a 4-point lead. 6 to go in the game. Edwards said, how's the Michigan State game going? Michigan State won. They won by 10, 72-62 over USC. USC's offense fell cold late. A big win for Tom Izzo to get the win, winning by 10 points. But USC, if they had made shots down the stretch, Boogie Ellis, he was just cold in the second half. He only had 6 points in the whole game. He fouled out of the game. And overall, it's just a really good performance all around for Michigan State's players, and they got the win, helping out the Big Ten this tournament. Edwards said, oh, poor USC. But now you've got Kennesaw State and Xavier. Kennesaw State is falling apart. Xavier's cut it to 3. After this game is over, I'll be dropping off. Come back on later at 4, but thanks everybody for being here. Sule Boom at the line. And he hits both free throws. Xavier has cut it to 2 with 6 minutes to go. Kennesaw State's going to have to make some shots if they want to pull off this upset. They had a massive lead. They were up by 15 points at one point. But Xavier's making a furious comeback. Almost another turnover. But they do call a foul on Xavier. Troy V says Kennesaw State has gone cold. They've fallen apart. They haven't scored in 4 minutes. Which, again, against Xavier, a team that is good on the offensive end, you cannot go cold on offense. You have to keep scoring. Kennesaw State missed again. Had a really good look from 2. And Xavier with the ball. Sule Boom driving. Xavier driving in for 2. And they score again. It's a tie game. 61-61. Kennesaw State's really falling apart. Tie game. Xavier is on a furious comeback. 13-0 run for Xavier. Kennesaw State was up by 13, but Xavier is coming back. Kennesaw State trying to drive. And Xavier blocks the ball, but Kennesaw State got it back, but they miss again. Xavier with the basketball, under 5 to go. Colby Jones for 3. He misses. And they call a foul on Kennesaw State. They should have had the rebound, but they didn't get the rebound, and Xavier's got it. Teddy Boy says Xavier is on a run, and all of a sudden Kennesaw State has gone cold. I mean, they were playing really good basketball. They were up on Xavier by a lot, but they've really fallen apart. But can they find a little bit of momentum at the end to steal the upset? Jackson says Kennesaw State is blowing their upset. They had it. It's one of those things. And a really important player for Kennesaw State, Youngblood, with 4 fouls. Jack Nungy at the line where he shoots over 70%. 4:47 to go in the second. Jack Nungy at the foul line. And he hits the free throw. Xavier has taken the lead. Teddy Boy says Xavier's winning now. This is insane. Jack Nungy with another free throw attempt. And he misses. So Xavier up by 1. This is their first lead since 5:21 left in the first half. Does Kennesaw State have any more magic in them? Xavier's on a 14-0 run. Can Kennesaw State find any offense? And Kennesaw State for 2. Unless they called the foul on the floor. They might have called the foul on the floor. Yeah, they did. They did not give him the shot. So Kennesaw State will inbound. Teddy Boy said this has turned to quite a game for sure. Colby Jones has 4 fouls for Xavier. Kennesaw State has not scored in almost 6 minutes, and they miss again, and they call an offensive foul on Kennesaw State. So Kennesaw State could have retaken the lead, but they called the foul on the floor, and they don't score on that possession. So Xavier with the basketball. Troy says, I've got all the games streaming on the computer while listening, like watching Red Zone for the tournament. That's awesome, man. Don't want to miss any action for sure. So many good games on at the same time. But Kennesaw State is really falling apart. They had a great chance to win this game. They had Xavier on the ropes. They've just completely fallen apart. Colby Jones at the line for a 1-and-1 for Xavier. He hits the free throw. Xavier up 2. Again, as Teddy Boy said, what a time to go cold. They definitely fell apart. Dave Valensky says, Xavier's my cousin's alma mater. I've always liked their shorts. It's pretty cool. Xavier's got pretty cool colors. Good team. X is a pretty cool logo. But a 2-point lead for Xavier. Colby Jones misses the second free throw. Kennesaw State has not scored in 6 minutes. And the fact they're only down 2 shows how much they were ahead. Kennesaw State for 3, and they missed. They cannot hit anything. They haven't scored in over 6 minutes. Colby Jones driving for Xavier. He misses a layup. Kennesaw State with the rebound, still only down 2. Kennesaw State driving. Kennesaw State misses, but a foul on Xavier. We got the under 4 timeout. Kennesaw State down 2, but with some free throws to potentially tie this game back up. Jack Nungy's like, I didn't foul, but he did get the body. Teddy Boy says Kennesaw State can't buy a shot right now. They're just cold. They're completely falling apart from the floor. They were playing great basketball. I was watching more of the Michigan State game, but they were showing some highlights earlier in the game, and they were playing great basketball, but they just completely lost their confidence. They're not hitting shots. And Xavier might survive. But yet again, if Xavier does win this game, it's how they respond in the next game. It's going to really show Xavier how good they are as a basketball team to be able to survive in this game and be able to turn it around and play better, because they're really struggling in this one. But that would be a huge upset if Kennesaw State could win. But Baylor, they're still down 1.5 to UC Santa Barbara. St. Mary's and VCU's tied at 21 in the first half, so a lot of high-level games. March Madness is so much fun, one of the best times of year. They're showing the Mayhem commercial with him playing basketball with his brother. He tears the goal down. So funny. Kennesaw State needs Mayhem on their team right now. Hit that jump hook. But does Kennesaw State have a run in them? Do they have a run the last 3 minutes of this game against Xavier to be able to come back? I don't know. I mean, they were playing so well, but I just think with teams like Kennesaw State, you have to be confident the whole game. You have to give it everything you've got, not think about that we're the 14 seed, they're the 3 seed. They have all the players, and we're a small school. You just got to go out there and play. And if you can do that the full game, then you have a really good chance to win. But sometimes, it sets in that, wow, we're winning the game. We could win, and then you just try to hold on, and you can't hold on. You got to keep your foot on the gas. You got to keep doing what was winning you the game. And if you can do that, then you can win. But I think Kennesaw State, they stopped doing what was working. The realization of the game set in, and they definitely look a little rattled. But it will be interesting to see. Can they win? Can they pull out the win? It's going to be very interesting. Xavier up 2, but Kennesaw State has some free throws. 3:46 to go on the game. And Sule Boom and Adam Kunkel are going after it on the sideline. That's not a good sign for Xavier when you've got 2 teammates that are struggling right now, that are mad at each other. That's not a good sign. Sule Boom and Adam Kunkel were not happy with each other, exchanging words on their sideline. They'll have to put that behind them and try to win this game. But Kennesaw State hits the first free throw. Hit them both. Kennesaw State has tied the game. Xavier 63, Kennesaw State 63, 3:40 to go. Xavier moving the ball around the floor. Colby Jones misses. Kennesaw State rebound. This is crazy. Kennesaw State has a really good chance still. After going 6 minutes without scoring, they're still in a tie game with Xavier. Kennesaw State dribbling around too much. They take a short 2, and they miss in and out. What a look. You can't ask for a better look than that. But Kennesaw State misses. Dave Valensky says when a team like Kennesaw State starts going cold, it's going to be very hard for them to pick themselves back up. They don't have the firepower of Xavier. I completely agree. It's tough to come back, get yourself back up when you're struggling. With Xavier in a tie game, 63 all, 2:40 to go. And they call a foul on Kennesaw State. Teddy Boy says, I have Iowa State in the Sweet 16. That's a good pick. Iowa State's a good team. They're a little streaky, though. They get a little cold from the three-point line. And they could lose early, but they are a team that has shown potential to be consistently good, but they had some struggles in the Big 12. But I could see Iowa State in the Sweet 16. Jack Nungy, he misses the first free throw. Big miss for Xavier. It's 63 all, 2:40 to go in the second half. Jeff says, wow, what a game also. It's going down to the wire. Jack Nungy at the line for the second free throw. Can he hit it? Jackson said, I was thinking more like Pittsburgh in the Sweet 16. You never know, but they'll have to play better than they did against Mississippi State if they want to do that, because even though they got the win, they almost lost on a buzzer-beating 3. Mississippi State couldn't hit it. But Jack Nunge hits the second free throw at 64-63. Kennesaw State down 1. 2:30 to go. Kennesaw State driving in. And it is off of Xavier. Teddy Boy says, what a game. For sure. Xavier's getting all they can handle. Kennesaw State's had some shots that have almost dropped. They just have not gone in. Teddy Boy says Pitt is lucky they didn't lose to Mississippi State. I completely agree. They didn't play that well in that game. Neither team really did, but somebody's got to win. And they call a foul on Xavier. Adam Kunkel with the tough foul. That is definitely a foul. He's like, I didn't foul, but, man, he fouled hard. Thinks he got all ball. I mean, he kind of did, but he got a lot of arm. Jackson said Iowa State's a disaster on the road. That is a big weakness for them. They're a much better team at home. Be interesting to see how they play in the tournament. But Kennesaw State with the chance for some free throws to take back the lead. Teddy Boy said they're in the toughest conference in the Big 12. That is a really tough conference. But Kennesaw State misses the free throw, but they get the rebound. Kennesaw State gets the rebound, 64-63, 2:10 to go in the second. We got a crazy finish here. Kennesaw State with only 2 points in the last 8 minutes of this game, but they're only down 1. And Kennesaw State hits a long 2. They're back in front, 65-64. I think Xavier calls a timeout. 2 minutes to go. What a shot. A long 2. Confidently steps up, knocks it down, and Kennesaw State has the lead. This would be a major upset. This would be a major upset for sure. If somehow Xavier lost, you would already have Virginia losing, Arizona losing, and now Xavier. That would be insane. And it's not even close to being over in the first round. So many more games. Dave Valensky says 10 offensive rebounds is the reason why Kennesaw State was in this game. For sure. They said the A-Sun is 8-41 all-time in the NCAA tournament. The last win, Liberty defeated Mississippi State in 2019. Well, Kennesaw State might be the 9th if they can get this win. But they actually said Kennesaw State took the timeout. But they're up by 1 point with 2 to go. Xavier basketball. Sule Boom with the ball. Bringing the ball up the floor for Xavier. Adam Kunkel now has it. Down to Jack Nunge on the block. Kicks it back to Adam Kunkel. And Xavier for 3. Adam Kunkel hits a big shot. 67-65 Xavier. 1:40 to go. That might be the exact shot Xavier needed. Kennesaw State almost turns it over, but they get it back. And Kennesaw State for 2. Tie game again. 67-67. 1:20 to go in the second. We have a fantastic finish here. Xavier basketball. Sean Miller's on the floor. Ref's trying to take him off the floor. Sule Boom with the layup. And he misses the layup. Sule Boom had an easy layup and he missed it. Sometimes when crunch time happens, you miss easy shots. And he just missed one of the easiest shots you'll ever see. 67 all. Kennesaw State with a chance to retake the lead. .45 seconds left. Kennesaw State's driving in. And Kennesaw State misses a layup. Xavier basketball. 40 seconds left. And Sean Miller, he takes one of his last 2 timeouts. 33 seconds left in this game. And it's 67-67. This game is going down to the wire. 2 missed layups for both teams. But what a game. It is going down to the wire. This would be a massive upset if Xavier lost. But Kennesaw State playing opportunistic basketball, giving it everything they've got, and they've got Xavier on the ropes with 33 seconds left. Xavier basketball with a chance to be another potential Cinderella story this year in March Madness. Teddy Boy says, wow, what a game. They were trading baskets. I mean, it's insane. Kennesaw State had a big lead. They were up by 13 on Xavier. Xavier goes on a big run to take the lead, but then Kennesaw State hits a couple big shots to stay in this one. Winner of this game will play the winner of Iowa State-Pitt. Definitely a lot of people are looking at Iowa State and Pitt as a team that could advance, especially if Kennesaw State wins this one. Xavier not playing that well. Xavier is still a really good team. If they can survive, maybe that would help them play better in the next one. This is a great basketball game. Jerome Hunter's had a big game for Xavier. But Sule Boone missed an easy layup, and then Kennesaw State missed a layup on the other end. But 33 seconds left in this game. Michael, he says Xavier's risen from the dead for sure. They looked like they were going to lose for sure. Xavier inbounds the basketball. Kennesaw State will have about 10 seconds left to score after this Xavier possession. Xavier, backdoor cut. They miss. Colby Jones goes up. He misses, but they call a foul on Kennesaw State. He'll be going to the free throw line. Troy V says, much better ending than when a team has to foul and pray for a miss. That's tough for Kennesaw State. They play really good defense. But Colby Jones looks like he did get fouled. He definitely sold the contact, but he did get hit on the arm. It was really good defense. I don't think he should have swiped down. If he hadn't, I don't think he would have hit that shot. But Colby Jones is at the foul line for Xavier. 67-67. And Colby Jones, he shoots 67% at the foul line. He's 3 of 6 today. And Chris Youngblood for Kennesaw State is fouled out. One of their better players. That's a tough loss. But Kennesaw State's not out of this game. 18 seconds left. Colby Jones at the free throw line. And he hits the first. Xavier's up by 1. 68-67. 18 seconds left. Xavier with one more free throw. Colby Jones. He misses the free throw, so it's 68-67. Only a 1-point lead for Xavier. 13 seconds left, and Kennesaw State takes their last timeout. And they have a chance to hit a 2 or a 3 to win this game. Kennesaw State has a chance. This game's going down to the last shot. Xavier could get upset. What a game. This would be a massive upset. Xavier, 68. Kennesaw State, 67. 12 seconds left in the game. And Kennesaw State takes the timeout to try to draw up a play. As Teddy Boy says, they can win it with a 2. They don't need a 3 100%. That's what happened to Mississippi State Pitt. Mississippi State shot a 3 when all they needed was a 2. And Pittsburgh won that one by 1 point. If I'm Kennesaw State, I'm trying to drive to the hoop. Try to get fouled at the very least, but go for a layup or at least a short 2. Troy V said, I'd foul him, get the ball back to try to win. They're definitely going to play it straight up. More than likely. The refs are over there looking at something, but 68-67 Xavier, 12.8 seconds left in the game. And Kennesaw State has the basketball. This is a fantastic game. Xavier is definitely struggling in this game a lot more than people were expecting. Kennesaw State, they've been a fantastic story this year in college basketball. few years ago, they were an 8-win team, but now they're a team that's in the NCAA tournament, which is insane. A massive turnaround. When you go from an 8-win team a few years ago to making the tournament with the same head coach, just goes to show how good of a job he's done. I think he has a really good shot to move up the coaching ranks to a bigger job. I don't know if he'll leave after this season, but he's done a great job. But Kennesaw State, they put 13.6 seconds on the clock. They were looking at the clock. And Kennesaw State has a chance to win. Only down by 1. 13.6 seconds left in the game. You cannot ask for a better chance to get a win. Could another upset be brewing? Kennesaw State has no timeout, so they have to inbound this basketball. Kennesaw State, they inbound. 12 seconds left in the game. 10 seconds. 8 seconds. They're driving in. 5 seconds. They go up. What a block from Xavier. And Xavier steals it. 1 second left. It looks like Xavier's going to hold on. Kennesaw State had a couple chances, but really good defense from Xavier. And Xavier steals the basketball, and it looks like Xavier's going to hold on. They try to drive in, but Jack Nungy with the block. And Xavier got the ball back. What a block by Jack Nungy. He might have just saved Xavier. That's incredible. The Kennesaw State head coach is mad. He's all the way at half court. He feels that his player got fouled by Jerome Hunter. They end up calling a foul on Kennesaw State when Sule Boom got the basketball. There's 1.6 seconds left in this game. Jack Nungy blocked it. What a block from Jack Nungy. The ball was still going up. It did not hit the backboard. But that's the difference between winning and losing in March Madness. To Teddy Boy's point, if he didn't block that, I think it would have gone in. I agree. And Kennesaw State would be moving on more than likely. But it definitely looks like Xavier's going to hold on. Some people feel probably Jerome Hunter fouled on that play, but they didn't call it. But Troy said, great game. Xavier with 2 free throws. Sule Boom is a really good free throw shooter. And he hits the first. 69-67. Really unfortunate for Kennesaw State. They played a really good game. They had Xavier on the ropes, but it looks like they are going to fall short. Crazier things have happened, though. Sule Boom, 86% free throw shooter. He's 3 of 3 today. And he hits the second. It's 70-67. And Sean Miller uses his last timeout. 2.6 seconds left. All Kennesaw State can hope for is a half-court 3 to tie this game up to go to overtime. But if not, they're going to lose. But, yeah, you definitely see that you could have called a foul on Colby Jones. I think the Kennesaw State player did get fouled. But they didn't call it. I mean, it's a split-second decision. The refs, they do everything they possibly can. But I think that was a foul on Xavier on the rebound attempt there. Kennesaw State got the ball back. Was a reach-in. Probably should have been called. Kennesaw State might have had a couple free throws. They didn't call it. Xavier gets the ball back. But he definitely reached in. Jerome Hunter and Colby Jones. (70-67) Xavier with 2.6 seconds left. Kennesaw State with one last chance. Can they hit a 3? 2 seconds left. Kennesaw State half-court 3, and that is short. He almost hit it, but it's short. 70-67. Oh, they're looking at Kennesaw State. The player stepped out of bounds. So there's still 2 seconds left, but Xavier's going to inbound. It's over, more than likely, unless something crazy happens with a steal. That's a really tough way to go out for Kennesaw State. 2.3 seconds left. All Xavier's got to do is inbound the basketball. and don't turn it over, and they'll have this one. Xavier inbounds it. They foul Sule Boone with 1 second left, and he's going to hit a free throw or two to win this one. And Kennesaw State, he stepped on the line. He tried to shoot the three, but he stepped on the line. But Sule Boone with 1 second left, he'll be at the line. If he hits at least one, it's over. And he hits the first. Jackson says Xavier got lucky today, but will they get lucky on Sunday is the question. They definitely survived. They could have lost. They could have called a foul on the rebound, but Xavier's going to hold on. 72-67. 1 second to go. Kennesaw State shoots a three, and they miss. Xavier holds on 72-67, but what a game. Teddy Boy says he has Iowa State beating them, but Xavier holds on. Kennesaw State gave it everything they had. We saw a really good game with Michigan State over USC earlier. That's going to wrap it up for this stream. I'll be back at 4 for Creighton, NC State, but thanks for being here, everybody. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, but thanks for being here, everybody. March Madness on Friday's just begun. Already some great action, great games. Looking forward to some games later. But an awesome game with Xavier, Kennesaw State. Xavier holds on. And Michigan State beat USC earlier, but thanks for being here, everybody. Some great games.